This is Drew Shore. You're listening to Missin Curfew.
What's Missin Curfew? It's when you kind of play guilty, but you show up.
How nice is a green light on the road, though? No practice tomorrow, no plane, just go.
Scotty Upshaw in the clear, and he scores! Right in front, scores!
A few laughs, a little bit of fun, and obviously a lot of hockey talk.
You're listening to Missin Curfew.
Fellas, coming to you from Hall Pass Media, Newport Beach, this is Missin Curfew. Obes, we got Jay Swish back, D to D, back to D, to out of the playoffs. And we got Richie Fella back from a nice round at TPC. He's got a little tan. I like it, fella. Richie, we'll start with you, fella. Good to see you. Welcome back. The boys have missed you here.
Yeah, buddy. It's been a week or so. So, yeah, it's nice to be back, buddy. Feeling good. Sickness is pretty much gone from the house. Jess is still hurting a little bit, but she's coming around. So it's been a long couple, about 10 days, I guess, we've been sick. So I struggled, buddy. But I did get out. I snuck out for some golf. Yeah, I played TPC like you just said the other day, which was beautiful. So
yeah, I want to get into that with you. Swish Dog, good to see you again, fella. It was nice to have just two reliable defensemen there on Tuesday. We didn't have to worry about Upshaw turning pucks over or Richardson trying to make a play, through the middle. It was just a couple D guys taking care of the puck, making the right play, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I'm going to have the odd turnover, too. I'm just going to put that. But I know you're going to be there for me. I'm going to be trying to force a lot of things through the middle. I'm going to be joining the play, and I'm going to be doing that with a little bit of risk. I'm known for maybe a last man back toe drag. But, Obi, I got you, and I got my goalie back there, the boys in the back. So, all good. Richie, babe, are you battling that flu that's going around, or what do you got going? There's a ton of people I know that are on the shelf right now.
There's something going around, boys.
I got back. I was telling Hobes, I got back from Montana, and I was on the plane. It hit me like a freaking a sledgehammer, man. All of a sudden, I hit with the sweats and the chills, and I was on the shelf for 5 days, and my youngest daughter got it, and then Jess got it from her. And it's been like 10 days of this. And it's like 5, 6, 7 days of like you don't feel good.
Yeah, just sell it out.
Yeah, I put every freaking pill in my body to try to feel good, and it's just nothing's really working. But I'm back around now, but it was a battle.
That was me, man, for about a month, and I went out Friday night. Had dinner with the Fact Daddy, and then he went home, and I just, I was out, so I figured I'll go poke my head in somewhere else here, and kind of got in one. But I think I think getting pinned finally got it out of me. I'm back now. I think I just needed one last good drunk Jay Swish to get it out of me. But I was sick for a month, man. I was talking to my girl Mac Miller, I might have to go to the hospital. What do I got here? So there's something going around, fella.
Yeah, I mean, listen, too, especially if you're a single guy out there, and you got to really keep your chin tucked out there. You never know what's going on. Next thing you know, you got some sort of hiatus you're battling for 5 to 7 days. It can put you down, Obes. You got to be careful out there, especially as a single dude. Not that you guys are, but for me, you got to take that, especially this flu season. You never know.
Yeah, you just, as a single guy, you're just a Z-Pack's your best friend. But if you're not in the National League, you call your doctor up and say, hey, fella, I need a Z-Pack. Like in the NHL, go to the rink that morning, trainer, whoever, fella, Bernie, I need a Z-Pack. If you're a civilian, you got to call up your doctor and explain to him why you need one. Like, hey, why do you need a Z-Pack? Well, doc, listen, I was down in Old Town last weekend there, and she said she never did this before, but I kind of think she did this before, doc.
No, it's a funny thing too, Obes, because this guy I use, I'm on a texting basis with him. He's actually one of my uncle's buddy who is also a practicing or an MD medical doctor. So this guy's like a family physician. So I'll text him and I'll keep it real with him. He's like, have you been seeing some girls lately? Doc, yeah, a little bit. He's like, have there been multiple? Well, fuck, maybe. He's like, all right, we'll just come in. We'll get it figured out.
Not at the same time, doc. Hey, not at the same time, but I mean, multiple during the week. Yeah, there has been that, but not at the same time, doc.
Yeah, exactly. He says, all right, Jordan, come in. We'll figure it out. We can talk it out. I'm like, all right, doc, no problem. Thanks, fella.
Well, that's nice to have a guy on your side. What else can you get? What else can you get from that guy? What else? He's got an open door policy, that guy, or?
I haven't really tried to sniff anything else out. I keep it pretty clean. I'm plant-based, grass-fed, so.
You are.
Yeah. You are. Trishy, there's nothing better than have a doctor on speed dial, though, is there? Like we can text him and get everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, because you never know what you need, Rich. Like you need a prescription for something. You need, again, a Z-Pack. Maybe you think you have a chlamydia scare. Maybe there's just different things going around like the flu. You can always just text this guy at any hour of the night, and yeah, he just hooks me up. He must be doing okay, too, because he's living in the same neighborhood as Kells, so he must be doing all right, boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best. I got the Coyotes team doc. He's the best, and he just, anything I need, I just call him. He'll FaceTime me right away. He'll be like, what's your symptoms? All right, go get your script. Like, you don't have to go into the hospital unless you're you need to or anything, or the urgent care. So it saves you a lot of time.
You're like, doc, back's a little tight. right hips in one. Right hips in one. I need it all.
I try to pretty co-stroke.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying that's what I'd be saying to him. Doc, the right side's locked up. What do you got for that fella?
Yeah, I think you just got to have a guy that you need a guy for everything. Like I have a wig guy, I got a guy that comes over, I got a gal that comes over and cleans my place. You just need a guy for everything. You got a yard guy, you got a TV guy, appliance guy.
I do got a TV guy.
Everything, Obes, and just add that to the list of someone you can just immediately hit up at 11:30 at night on a Tuesday and be like, "Hey, listen, I got this going on. Can I stop in tomorrow?" Boom, he'll fit you in, or he'll give you a prescription for whatever you need, and you can just go to the Walgreens and pick it up. It's a lifesaver, man.
Yeah. So, are you guys big antibiotics guys? Like, if you get sick, do you drive the antibiotics in? Because I thought about doing that, actually, and then, some people, Upshaw, he's like, antibiotics are the worst thing ever. Why the fuck would you put that in your system? Like, do you guys ever go, looking for that stuff through your doctors, or if you're really, really sick, or you try to stay away from those as well?
I mean, I have in the past. Yeah, I didn't do it on this one. Maybe I should have, and I would have been. But I just pounded just over the counter stuff this time. But my daughter, she went and got we got antibiotics for her because she couldn't shake this thing. So
yeah, boy was in one, huh?
Yeah, but
yeah, I saw.
Unless I really need it, I don't get them.
No.
There, but
Swishy, what about you? You stay off that stuff, or?
Yeah, I stay off that stuff. Usually, you can just flush it out with some good vitamins, minerals, a lot of fluids. But
whiskey,
again,
Crown Royal,
whiskey, exactly. Out the throat.
Drink a bottle of Crown Royal. And your fucking throat won't hurt anymore. You won't be thinking about your sore throat, eh?
Well, you'll be thinking how drunk you are. Who's pulling over?
Well, Richie, buddy, it's nice to have you back. Jay Swish, always a pleasure. Richie, let's start with you. Our little intro here, fella. TPC, you hit the green on 16. First of all, did you make the putt? And second of all, how's the feel there? Because remember we talked about, they're going to buckle down and the drunk people are going to get tossed. I know we're a week away. What's the feel like? Same old feel around there? Like it's going to go Buck Diddy, or what's the feel like?
It seems like it gets bigger and more stands every year. The whole front nine is pretty much stacked now with stuff, and the course is mint condition as usual. The rough is super long because they're blowing it out and then they cut it down, so it's perfect for them. But it was honestly mint, and that course is kind of boring for people who have played it. It's boring when there's no stands up. To me. But when the stands are up, it's so many. I wish they could leave them up all year round, and that 16th hole would be perfect. But I didn't make a putt on 16, no, all lip, no hole. And then I put pretty good. I had three doubles on the front Obes. I battled back.
3 doubles on the front.
I know, buddy. I had a 4 putt, and then I battled back, shot 40 on the front, and I shot even on the back. So I had a nice 76, which you'll take there. But it was a fun round.
Especially on that back nine. That front nine, you make a great point about leaving the stands up. I don't know what they charge for a round at TPC, but if they left the stands up all year round, they could probably bump it up another $250 or something.
Right now, it's around like $650 to play there. So
without the stands,
that's a joke.
Without the stands,
winter time, the high season, the peak season, Scottsdale, it's tough to get out on any course for under $250 now. But TPC's, it's probably $550, $600. I luckily there was a buddy's thing and they had passes, but.
Yeah.
So we'd have to pay, but
it's
expensive, man.
That's
expensive.
That's Pebble Beach. Pebble Beach is $600.
That's something, but people love going there and taking pictures on 16 and seeing that. It is a great stretch. Those last 4 holes for an unbelievable stretch.
You've played Pebble, right? Jay Swish, you ever played Pebble? You're not a huge golfer.
Pebble, no.
Yeah, you're not a big time golfer, right? Like you'll play or whatever, but you're not gonna go on a golf trip or whatever. You're just kind of a casual guy, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've gone on golf trips. Obviously, being a Wisconsin guy, I've done Whistling Straits. I've done some other places, but I've never done Pebble.
Yeah.
And that's somewhere I would love to tee up for sure. Those guys, the Coyote guys, I don't know if Richie was a part of those crews. I'm sure he's played it himself. But Nick and, Christian Dvorak and Fisher and Kells, those guys would always take a trip to Pebble. And actually, I think Ryan Smith, he's got a place or maybe 2 on Pebble Beach. So those boys, I think they're going to be probably heading there after the year.
Speaking of the other Ryan Smith that played in the NHL, he made the Edmonton Oilers all-century team, eh? Their second-line center there, Ryan Smith. I'm like, holy fuck, here we go. Ryan Smith. Hey, well, I put Ethan Morrow on there before Ryan Smith or fucking Torkoff. I don't know. I mean,
I probably put Stevie Stales.
Yeah, right. Put fucking Matt Green down the pipe before I give Stoley.
Getting Stoley Green on that team.
Hey, I wanted to ask you this, Rich. Now that I thought about it, yeah, what a playoff he had, eh? One good playoff will get you 4 years, whatever he got. What did he end up getting, 8 or 16 or something? How many mils?
I think he got like 2.5 a year, but he was basically never heard of before that playoff run.
Yeah. The LA Kings all-century team came out. No Brad Richardson on there, which I thought, fuck, he just maybe put him in the bottom left corner. Zygmunt Palffy, second line center, and I just said, where's Mike Richards? Am I way off with this, or like, I mean, do you think like, I know he left town and things were like not perfect, but like, big reason you guys won both Stanley Cups. So was he there for both or just one?
He was there for both, but
Both. What?
the one he was more of playing a fourth line role in the second one.
But you always talk about Stanley Cups with Dustin Brown and getting a statue. Like Mike Richards, 2 cups. Like what did Zygmunt Palffy ever really, put up good numbers?
I had Stoli up. I got Stoli up there before Reagan Zygmunt Palffy.
Yeah, so would I. So
That's a good point. Richards is a good point. He played really well in the first one. Second one didn't play as well, but he was a big part of those teams. So
yeah, and you were there for the first one. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than I see the next year we lost in the West Conference Final, and then I moved on.
I'll tell you what, I saw Nashville's all-century team, or whatever you want to call it, quarter century, I guess it is. Thin squad. Stevie Sullivan, love you, Sully, on the second line there. I'm like, that's a tough matchup against the Red Wings.
For the Preds?
Yeah. I'm like, you don't want to put the Preds quarter century team up against the Red Wings because it's going to be a mismatch. The second line was like Sully, fucking JP Dumont, I think, or somebody. I was like, whoa, it's a tough squad here.
Was Jason Arnott on that team too?
You know what? I think he was. And listen, that guy was a fucking handful out there, man. Like, oh my, remember how big he was and strong?
Strong, yeah. You couldn't get the puck off him.
Let me find out here. How do I check this on the NHL right here? Edmonton Oilers. Yeah, there it is.
Weber.
Edmonton Oilers. Oh, Horkoff made the second team. Edmonton Oilers. Hemsky, who absolutely danced me one night at the old Rexall Energy Center, whatever the fuck it was called. Horkoff, Ryan Smith, Tommy Salo was their second goalie. Tommy Salo, fucking right. See? Here we go. Hold on, boys. Let me find it here. Bear with me. LA Kings was Dustin Brown, Jeff Carter, Kopitar, Doughty, Martinez, Quick, of course, Kempe, Palffy, Justin Williams, Matthias Nordstrom, Lubin Urbanovsky, and Felix the Cat Potvin.
Yeah, I don't mind that. The Cat.
Fucking kicking.
Yeah, but yeah.
Who would you put? Who would you put? You were going to say you put somebody else there?
I was going to say, but it's only 25. Is it 25 years?
Yeah, since the year 2000.
Oh, I was going to say Kelly Rudy there with the old back in the day, but that's too far back.
Well, how about when Grapes is like, look at Kelly Rudy with the blue Chavas hanging out at the back of the helmet. It really ties in nice with the LA Colors, doesn't it? Tampa Bay Lightning, Kucherov, Stammer, Marty, Boiler, Hedman, Vasilevsky. How are you? LeCavier, Point, Richards, Kubina, McDonough, Ben Bishop. That's a great squad. Stick with me here. We'll move. I just want to see the Nashville Predators squad.
Martin Erat, maybe? I'm trying to think up front.
Martin Erat was a great player.
It's Mike Fisher, Philippe Forsberg, Paul Correa,
Ryan Johansson,
Roman Yossi, Shea Weber, and Pekka Rinne.
Yeah, he did.
Okay, that's their top line. What's their second line? Send it.
Second line, Ryan Johansson, David Langwand, Steve Sullivan, Matthias Ekholm, Kimmo Timonen, and UC Saros. Kind of sick.
They're looking to play a shutdown game. They're looking to play a 1-3-1, Richie, and sit back and slow her right down, right? Like slow her down, clog her up, and let's get out of here with 2 points. That's what that fucking line's trying to do, boys. Hey?
Ryan Johansson got an absolute ticket, too, to play there. Was he making 8 times 8? Oh, yeah.
Good BC guy. Did some damage. Did some damage.
30 goals there.
Did some damage off the sheet, too. Did some damage.
Yeah. Well,
a few of our friends, we crossed paths. you cross. Oh, what's? Oh, you know him? Oh shit! Fuck. Okay. Shit. Fuck. Hey. Fuck. Jesus. Hey. Anyways, LA Kings. All the respect in the world. Richardson's on that team, in my opinion. Stoll's on that team, and Mike Richards. I mean, come on. Let's do it right here. But talking about Brad Richardson, Mike Footsie. I did his show. He has a great show in Ontario. I've always respected Foots. Good guy. Always knew he liked character. Didn't know he liked character this much, though. So Patrick O'Sullivan, who was the first overall pick in the Ontario Hockey League and was like the next up-and-coming guy, there was a trade on the table. So O'Sullivan straight up for Richardson, Owen Sound in Mississauga, and Foots turned it down. He said, no, thank you. I'll stay with the guy from Belleville, Ontario that likes to fucking play on the boat. But Swishy, you don't understand it because you were an Ontario League guy. But when I heard that was a big deal back then, Rich.
Yeah, I love Foots. I've known him since I was like 15 probably. And then he came on, I think, my second or third year junior. He never told me that trade, but he told me there were some ones I'd be surprised about. But I think I don't know what year that was. If it was my last year. Like, last year, I put up more points to him, so I don't know if that was the reason or not, but I mean, I love Feuds for not trading me.
Yeah, I should have asked him if that was your first year. That's a good point because your last
Either
year.
in my first year because Feuds wasn't our GM yet, so
Yeah,
it was probably it could have been second, third, whatever, but who knows?
Yeah, he's a beauty. He's a great guy, and he being part of those.
He put those teams together in LA. He was a huge part of those guys.
He
brought in all those boys, right?
Yeah,
Me, Carter, Richards, and Stoll Greener, or his guy. He brought a lot of us in. Wayne Simmons, Trevor Lewis.
Yeah. No, and it's funny you said that. I said, Foots, you respect character, right? And then we started talking about you and then those LA teams, and we were talking about the Leafs, right? And how they may be different this year. And watching him play last night against the Wild, or 2 nights ago or last night, I don't even know what day it is. They didn't look any different to me. But he was talking about how important character is and how much character that LA Kings team had, and then talking about you and Owen Sound and how he loved it there. I'm like, Richie loved Owen Sound too. He said it was the best place on the planet. I'm like, I didn't believe him, but he loved it.
No, because it's one of those things, like, we had so many great guys, and he built such a fun group to be around. Like, we loved it. We just hung out together, and that's all we cared about. It's hanging out. We didn't care. We weren't in Toronto or Kitchener or any of these better cities. So, apparently, so we loved it. We had a great time.
We used to say in Kingston, Jay Swish, fuck around, they'll send you to the Sound. And that's what we used to say. Fuck around, they'll send you to the Sound, bud. You don't want to go there, Swishy.
I know, but every guy that's played there, I think, has loved it. That's where the Hammer Wilson played too, right?
The Hammer. Did he?
Hammer played there. I think Binnington played there. I think they were both Sound guys. So everyone that's played there, they love it.
Must have some nice local talent there, right?
And they love their hockey there too. It's always a goodwill crowd. They know their hockey. Well, much to do up there, so.
Tough barn. Fuck. Tough barn.
Those boards are so hard there, buddy. You get hit to those things.
I think there might have been like frozen, like the shit was frozen to it too. You go back for a puck and get hit like the frozen glass, and the boards were frozen. It's like, oh man, this is gonna be a long night here.
No, it was a tough barn to play in. It was smaller roof. He couldn't flip it out. Oak's got to make a play out there.
I was looking to go to my backhand anyways. I wasn't flipping it out in the Ontario League. But Foots, good on you, buddy. I would never trade Brad Richardson either. So before we move on here in our intro, boys, and head to our first break, some sad news out of Ottawa, TSN 1200. Sean Simpson, a guy that I actually crossed paths with doing Steve Coolish's show, The Power Play, and a really nice guy. And Princey said that he would reach out to Princey all the time, and was a big fan of Missin Curfew. So suddenly passed away. I heard Travis Green talking this morning in the press conference about how much Sean Simpson meant to a lot of people in that Ottawa organization. So obviously another tragedy, gone way too soon. So our condolences to Sean Simpson and his family. You'll be missed from the boys here at Missin Curfew. Before we go to break, let's not forget, this show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours, fella. Welcome back to Missin Curfew, fellas. It's the Missin Curfew Dog of the Week. I'm going off the sheet here, and I'm going to the golf course, boys. I played golf yesterday with our boy Brendan Steele of the High Flyers of the Live Tour. It's his last week before he tunes up. They start next week in Saudi. His driver is my Missin Curfew Dog of the Week. This thing is an absolute fucking weapon, boys. It is. There is no spin on it. It is fucking 100 feet in the air, and it doesn't move an inch. He was carrying it like 330. We played the tips at Big Canyon. He was absolutely bombing it. So Steeler, big Kings fan, Richie, as you know. Steeler, good luck this year, buddy. Stay healthy. Go get him. Your driver is my Missin Curfew Dog of the Week. Richie, he bombs it.
What's he hitting? What's he got? Give us some specs here. What's he playing?
It's funny you say that. I said, what kind of bat you got there, fella? What are you winning? Is that a ping? I went from, Phil tried to get me on Callaway. I didn't like Callaway. I said, so what's like a guy that's, ball striker like yourself? What's the difference? And he's just like, the misses with this ping are way better. Like if I missed a little bit, it still goes. I'm like, you got any extra heads lying around? Because I could use a driver that has a little more miss to it. Because that's my game.
What's he? Is he about 8 degree, 9 degree? What's he?
I think he was pumping. You know those guys, right? They whatever it says on their club, they can sometimes turn it the other way.
They turn it and make it.
Yeah. Like I played with John Mountain.
Ping like that G430. Is that that one?
Yeah, I think the new one. Is that the brand new one?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think it was end of last year. I got that same one. Doesn't go straight for me.
No.
Oh.
Well, you
be 30. I know that.
Yeah, but you're good because you can just pull out the old fucking swishy. Richie can hit a 2-iron fucking 300 yards or 280. Like I would take the driver out of your hands a lot if I had to. If I was on your bag.
Yeah. Well, he's working. I'm working on it.
Yeah. So it was to see him just absolutely put on a driving clinic. His driver and Ping, I guess, is my Missin Curfew dog of the week. Richie, who's your dog of the week, fella?
Oh, dog of the week for me is Gabe Velarde from Kingston, Ontario. He had 8 points in 4 games. He's had an unbelievable kind of sneaky season. I think he's got 49 points in 52 games or something. He's really turned into a hell of a player. He had some injury trouble early in his career, his back stuff going on, but he's figured it out this year. He's playing on that line with Scheifele, Connor, and they've been unbelievable. I would say maybe I will be the top line in the league this year. But he's just turned himself into one heck of a player. And I'm not sure if LA's regretting that trade right now, but it's looking pretty good on Winnipeg.
No, you know what? It's a kid I heard a lot about when I was down in the jungle in San Diego, and then once I retired, and I'm following the Kings, and he's always hurt, but he's a big guy that can play the game, and I'm like, well, he's got to get healthy eventually. And then he finally got healthy, and he played okay in LA. Like you saw signs of Richie that he could be a player. But like you said, he's gone to Winnipeg and absolutely blossomed. You know what I love about his game? He goes right to the front of the net. He'll go to the net. He'll tip him in. He's become one of the best net front guys in the league.
Yeah, he certainly has. I don't know. He's worked on it, but I think being healthy for for a long stretch here, he's really got to play, and he's playing with obviously really good players, but he can think on that elite level. So, really nice to see. I don't know him that well. I've only met him a couple times, but seems like a nice kid, and that's a line that's going to need to play really well if they want to go deep.
Yeah, the only thing bad about that trade, Jay Swish, is that he went from living in Manhattan Beach to living in Winnipeg. But other than that, it's worked out great for his career. I mean, his skin's probably not as buttery soft as it was living out here, but other than that, he's doing pretty good.
Oh, man, the skin is cracking. You're applying lotion like you never had before. And you even feel for a guy that was in that trade, Alex Iafallo, who was probably surfing 6 days a week or when he could. And he had to trade in the surfboard to go back to the chin of Winnipeg. I mean, he got his dose of that cold when he was playing at the University of Duluth. I think he's a Buffalo native himself. So, yeah, you feel for those guys that had to go, trade in their surfboards, go all the way back to that frozen tundra. It's not perfect, but the team's good at least.
When they made that trade, I went, those poor bastards, because I didn't think they were going to go up to Winnipeg and have the success that they're about to have. Like, I thought that was kind of a trade. I was never a huge Pierre-Luc Dubois guy. He's proven me wrong in Washington this year, but I thought that was a trade of where Winnipeg's just like, whatever, we got to get rid of our superstar or bring these guys in. They're going to go up there and not be a playoff team. Like, I did not see this coming, boys, that they're going to turn themselves into a, basically a powerhouse in the Central.
Yeah, that was a move by Chevy, right?
I don't think he gets enough credit, Shovel Day Off, man. He's been a pretty good GM, Rich.
Yeah. No, he's really good. And you think, like, Iafallo's one hell of a player, too. Like, great guy. Can play anywhere in your lineup. PKs, he can go on the power play. Like, he's a really smart, sneaky player. And then getting a guy like this who's turned himself into a first-time player, that's a hell of a trade. For all it's, underperforming.
Yeah.
Dubois, but.
And I would say Iafallo's kept his tan going pretty good for living in Winnipeg too, right? Like, it's not quite as good as it was down here, but it's still not. He hasn't gone like super pale.
But he actually loves Winnipeg. I've talked to him about it, and he's an outdoorsy kind of different guy. Likes to do things that most guys wouldn't do in the office. He's out hunting. He's out doing outdoorsy stuff all the time. So he really enjoys Winnipeg.
Yeah, I guess there's that part. There's that side to it. I've never looked at it that way, Swishy. I'm more of a, I want to see what's going on after the team. But Winnipeg's always been fun for me going in the road. But I guess if you're outdoorsy, the Peg's not about ice fishing, snowmobiling. What else can you do up there? Fucking shoot some deer?
Ways. Yeah, you're basically just saying there's different ways to get drunk in the cold, right? Ice fish, hunt. You can go and maybe go to the bar, maybe go snowmobiling, whatever, right? There's just you're going to be a little colder when you're getting drunk this time versus being on the beach. But yeah. I mean, at least he's enjoying it, right?
So just keep the buzz going, Swishy? Just keep the buzz going.
I mean, they got Earls on Main for you. They got a couple other sneaky spots. Actually, some decent talent walking around Winnipeg. I don't know how or why, but there is. There's some blondes.
No.
And, you can run into something, maybe a Joey's or the Shark Club.
Oh, yeah. No, it's true. I mean, I don't know how or why or what's the reasoning why there are beautiful women in Winnipeg, but there are. And one of my favorite times in my career was have a little morning, little 10 a.m. of practice in Winnipeg. Yeah, I stay out there for 45, get off, shower, right to Earl's. And, you get the shift change. You get the afternoon crew, hunker down. You get the fucking night crew. Right? You get to see the second line and the first line. It's nice.
Is there anything better than to go on a day-night doubleheader with a chili chicken?
No. Oh, yeah, fuck a few.
How many chili chickens were you putting down? Was it a 2 chili chicken, 3? Like, what do you think on a good day? Probably 14 drinks and 3 chili chicken?
Well, there was at least 2 chili chickens banged down. I go in there, have lunch, chili chicken to start off. Then I probably went with like a chicken club sando with a little side Caesar salad, being like, oh, at least I didn't have fries, thinking that's healthy. Then I probably sat there and drank, 8 to 10 kokanees in on the draft. And then I probably had one more chili chicken, and that was probably dinner, to be honest with you. I probably didn't eat anything after that. I probably just kept drinking there, and then, hopefully probably tried to peel something out of there. It was my game plan, Swish,
Yeah, well, sneaky trim and sneaky good food. I mean, the yam fries, they got the wings. Like, you can order the whole menu, sit there all day. Like you said, just belly up. The next thing you know, it's 7 o'clock, and you're like, okay, well, I better get out of here because I got a game, and I don't want to piss myself tonight.
Yeah, that's true. No, I never had many late nights in Winnipeg. It was always happy hour into what time to get off, and then back to the hotel, back to the Fairmont there. Wasn't it the Fairmont?
Yeah, that place is stinky. That place is stinky.
Yeah, that wasn't great.
It kind of has that same aura to it as like the St. Paul Hotel, really.
That's
it's
Old sheets. It kind of smells like your grandma's house.
Yeah. They got a new hotel there now. Right near the end of my career, I thought they built a nice new shiny one, didn't they?
There's a Delta there now. Oh,
Yeah.
It's redone.
I
believe it's a Delta, but it's still
that's a
slim pickings.
diamond.
Yeah, if I was the owner of the Jets, I would be like, don't ever build a new hotel in the city ever. Or if you do, don't let NHL teams stay there. Put them in the shitty old Fairmont with cold water and tell them to come on in the barn and see if they can steal 2 points out of here. Tough place to play.
Let me ask you this. Did you ever walk? I don't know if you know this. You could walk from that hotel underground right to the rink.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You ever done that? You see those creatures down?
Oh, fucking mutants everywhere. Just drunk as skunks. Not a tooth in their head. You're like, what the fuck are you saying, bud?
Yeah, they almost sleep it down in there. They're there all day.
Well, yeah.
Getting out of the cold, right?
Yeah, you can't go outside.
No.
I was gonna say the toughest homeless people in the world are in Winnipeg.
Yeah, you don't fuck with those homeless people there.
No.
What did you mean?
I'd be like, listen, fella, if we were homeless there, I'd be like, we gotta jump on one of these trains heading west to Vancouver. Let's get out of here. Richie, grab your fucking tin cup and let's get the fuck out of here. I'm not staying here all winter. I find a way to get to Vancouver, Rich.
Oh, and there's just nowhere to hide though. That wind picks up on you, like it's brutal.
Oh, I remember I had the full hawk going at Portridge and Maine. The next thing you know, the full hawk was done. It was icicles. I'm like, Jesus Christ here. But
Next thing you know, your comb over's the other way.
Yeah.
It's left to left. It's left to right.
Yeah, if I would have had the quaff, I would have been really in one back then. But Jay Swish, you got a dog of the week, fella, or we want to move on here?
Yeah, I was just this is a crazy play, but it's probably the first time in Missin Curfew history where a guy is self-proclaiming himself the dog of the week, but 72-hour fast, Obes, food yesterday. I've never tasted anything better. Now, listen, I've tasted some decent things in my life. It almost felt like I was losing my virginity again. It was insane. I had an acai bowl to start after my cleanse, a 72-hour bender, no food, and oh my God, man. I was just like, at one point, Obes, I just had the clock out, and I was just counting down the seconds until I could eat again, and I went with an acai bowl. It was unbelievable. So, not that I'm giving myself the dog of the week. It's just like, you know what? My barrel, I think, deserves the dog of the week because that 72-hour stretch when you don't eat, it's no joke.
Just water? Where you do?
Yeah, just water. Just water.
Like lemon water, at least. Or something.
How were your shit? Like I would go like
how were your shits
when I needed it when I started to get a headache, but it was just pretty much just water.
Was it water coming out? This might be too much information here. We can always cut it. Was it water coming out too, or are you still like taking nice healthy dumps, or how was it? Like, were you even taking a dump or what?
I wasn't really taking a whole lot of crunches.
Yeah, I guess not.
All coming out of my system.
Yeah.
In terms of like my sweat, I did hot yoga yesterday, and it was just like holy fuck. It was almost like an out of body experience, boys. I don't know if I'll ever do that again, but I do feel unbelievable today. Yesterday I was dragging ass. Like my energy was kind of low. I was getting some headaches, but. Yeah, man, that cleanse is no joke. I just wanted to do it just to kind of, test your chin a little bit mentally, and I don't know.
Jesus.
I don't know if I'm ever going to do it, but
you did it. So yeah, you're the dog of the week, fella. I would say I love that you went somewhat healthy when you went acai bowl. I would have went probably Donnie's breakfast. I would have went a couple sausage and eggers, hash browns, fucking large orgy. If we're gonna get back, let's get her back. Yeah.
Well, they say like you're supposed to ease yourself back into introducing food. Obes, you can't just go hit the dollar menu because otherwise it'll probably be coming out both ways.
Buddy, listen, I didn't. I would have to do 2 weeks. Richie saw me. I would not eat for the last 2 weeks of summer, 3 weeks of summer. I would not. I would eat fucking shakes, and that would be about it. Maybe a fucking pita pit with Richie at lunch if we're going to skate. And I remember I get to Tampa one year, and I weigh in that day at 228. And Torch is all fired up. He's like, fucking right. You fucking did it. You fucking had a great fucking summer. Fucking boy, let's go. I'm like, yeah, fucking Torch is all fired up. Love it. Go out that night for dinner. I think I went to fucking Olive Garden, and I just went fucking ham on a chicken parm and breadsticks. Came in the next day, I was 236. He's like, "What the fuck happened here? What'd you do?" I'm like, I just went and ate, Torch. Like, I don't know what to tell you. He's like, "Get the fuck on the bike." So in one meal, I ruined all my fucking hard work that I did for 3 months with Richie and Belleville. Torch is like, 236? You're 228 yesterday. I think I was 234. I'm like, buddy, I just had some pasta and a couple breadsticks, but. So I should have learned my lesson, Switch, and just probably had a salad that night instead of going full meat stick, you know?
Oh my God. I mean, those endless breadsticks, and then you got the gnocchi soup as well as the salad at Olive Garden. Like, you can be in one before you even get your food. You're sitting at like maybe 4,000 calories before the parm is even plated or the taste of Italy.
Oh,
Olive Garden, dangerous.
Dude, I used to eat Olive Garden for every pregame meal my last year in the jungle, Portland. Every fucking meal I go in there, chicken parm. Oh yeah, 12 breadsticks, go home. Rub one out, shut her down, and go out and get 3 points. It was like no problem.
Oh my God, that's hilarious.
That was an American League move, back in the day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
you get.
It's just a question if you can get. If it's just a question if you can get back to the shitter in time before you get home. You're like, oh boy, oh God.
Did you ever pair the breadsticks with that Alfredo sauce?
Did I ever? I had the fucking three. I had the Alfredo, then I had a little marinara, and I might even threw the little meat sauce in the little boat there too, Rich. Dip them all. See how it feels.
Oh, is that good? I might go there tonight.
Hey, treat yourself. Doesn't deliver out here. So every now and then there's one up in Irvine. I'll order one up and go up there and fucking 3, 4, 5 breadsticks before I get home, man. Then I get home, bang down the chicken parm. It's not perfect, bro. It's not perfect.
It's actually not bad, though.
Olive
Garden's not bad.
Tour Italy, eh? Tour Italy, fella.
Tour of Italy. Keep it simple. Eh? I like everything. Let me get the taste of everything. Give me the tour of Italy.
Swish, proud of you, buddy. That's good. That's willpower. I think you deserve a big weekend. I think you should go out and just get as drunk as you can for a couple nights. You deserve it, fella. So, DraftKings, a lock of the night, presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours. Fellas, last week I had the Ottawa Senators to beat the Leafs. Good hockey game. Battle of Ontario, low-scoring game. Forsberg kicked for me. Boys got her done 2-1. Updog had the Panthers over the San Jose Sharks. They also got it done, and you boys had the week off. So we're going to start with the Stanley Cup champ, most games played. Brad Richardson, what is your lock of the week or lock of the night, fella?
Oh, boys. I've been off a little bit here, so I need a big win here. And I'm going to go with the team that just plays pretty tough at home, a tough barn to go into as in a road team. So I'm going to go with the Calgary Flames against the Detroit Red Wings Saturday night. I like the home game, and they're fighting like dogs to stay in this thing. So, go with them.
You know what, Rich? I've been on the Flames a lot too, especially at home lately. I love their game all around. I mean, the way they compete, the way they forecheck and backcheck and pressure, and Weegsy Baby doing his thing. Anderson's playing well. Your boy Wolf's kicking. It just comes down to like, if they get behind, they can't play catch up. Like, they just don't have enough offensive ability, in my opinion. Like, Hubie's playing great. I love Kadri, but you got to give credit to their coach, Hoska, or that's his name, right?
Yeah, Hoska.
I mean, they're playing hard, man. I like watching them play.
No, they do. They play a really hard game, and they don't they don't have a superstar on their team. They just all have to play the right way to get the job done. And again, if they fall behind, they're not a team that's really probably going to come back and come 2-goal deficit or something. But if they get up on you, they play pretty stingy. They stay above pucks. They don't take a lot of chances. So I mean, especially go to the Saddle Dome, because you know how that rink. That's a tough rink to play in.
Yeah, no, and their fans are great, and they're playing a good brand of hockey. So I like that pick. Jay Swish, what do you got for your DraftKings lock of the night, fella?
Boys, my lock of the week, we're going to the nation's capital. That is the former Justin Turducken's backyard. We're going to the Ottawa Senators, and they're playing and hosting the Minnesota Wild on Saturday. The Wild, that'll be the end of their Canadian swing in terms of out east. They're in Montreal, I believe, one of these few nights, and then they go into Ottawa on Saturday. Look, I think the Senators will get it done. Even though, maybe it's been a little bit rough as of late. The Wild missing Kaprizov. I just think this is their game to win. So I'm going with the Ottawa Senators at home Saturday night versus the Minnesota Wild is my lock of the week.
Fella. And Jay Swish, to the listeners out there, 7-1 on the year. The guy has seen the ball well. Listen, I'm with you. At the end of a road trip, especially ending up in Ottawa, I just the Wild that they played the other night against Toronto and absolutely cost me. I was thinking the same thing as you, Swishy. No KK97. Sorry. Toronto's missing Tavares. Matty Nyes was out, but where I'm going with this, boys, is I want to give John Hines some credit too. They're a well-structured team, Rich. I mean, they're not the sexiest team out there. This Boldy's turned himself into an absolute player. Marco Rossi, I love Foligno. Trenton, the big boy. Listen, their back end is just meat and potatoes, but they play a good structure, Rich. And you played in the league a long time, won a cup. You play with good structure, you can compete.
Yeah, and I had Heinze. I was that year in Nashville. I had Heinze there too. I didn't get to play a ton that year with injuries, but he's got a system, and it's a heavy, big guy system. You play that through 1-1, and then in front of the net, it's a lot of heavy box outs and a lot of physical play. And he's a really good coach. He's really detail oriented. He reminds me a lot of Todd McLaughlin. Just the way they're very detailed.
Yeah,
you got to kind of be in the right position in certain areas of the ice. And he really shrinks the ice on teams. But he's got a good team. I was talking to actually Alex Goligoski the other day, who's kind of doing some light work for them and helping Billy Guerin a bit.
A little light work, A little light work,
Figuring out what he's going to do. He's kind of shouting Billy G a little bit, but he was kind of, we were just chatting about their team and stuff. And, there'll be a team to maybe watch and see what they do in the next little bit. So, they're looking to get better, I think. So,
yeah, I would agree with that. It's terrible news about Kirill, but I mean, the way they compete and everything you just said, I couldn't agree with more. Swishy 7-1, seeing the ball well. You got to get on there and take advantage of that, fellas that are listening. For me, my DraftKings lock of the night, I got the Carolina Hurricanes at home against Brad Richardson's LA Kings. I love the Rantanen trade. I've watched him play a couple times since he's been there. I'm going to watch him play tonight. They play the Blackhawks, but I just think the Hurricanes are going to take off here. They always play well at home. Rantanen's going to get more comfortable each game. And LA, a West Coast team coming out east. Probably a low-scoring affair. I don't know about that, but I'm taking the Carolina Hurricanes as my lock of the week, fellas. Moving on for top titty. Hey, Richie, fella, way to get in the mix, bud. Way to get involved in the top. Boy, how'd you do it? Just download the other app, or what'd you do, bud?
Yeah, I was on the wrong app, and you guys didn't give me the heads up on the which two DraftKings apps. But yeah, I gotta say though, I think I picked the Fact Daddy. I didn't know you took him out on the down note.
Well, he didn't stay out as much as I wanted him to. He went home fucking a little bit earlier. He's like, when I'm not as young as I used to be, and I said, come on, fella. But no, he went home at a decent. Really, he didn't miss curfew. I know that. I'm like, fuck, you're not even breaking curfew here, bud. Like, he went home early.
Okay, good.
And it wasn't.
I had him, and it was fun. It's a great little contest, man. I really enjoyed doing it, and like you always want to have a little bit more money at the end. It's tough to kind of navigate the payroll there, but it's a great little thing. I'm going to keep doing it.
You get a little taste of like on a very small scale of like, you're like, fuck, I want this guy, but I can't afford him. Like how GMs, to a certain extent go through it. Like, fuck, I'd love to have this guy, but we can't fit him under the cap. Like it's gotta piss you off as a GM at times.
Oh, exactly. And you're just trying to narrow in on like a third line guy who's going to have a good night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, right? My wingers, I go so cheap on my wingers. I got to start spreading the cash around. I go heavy down the pipe. 2 big-time centers. McDavid, whoever. McDavid Matthews. McDavid Draisaitl. I want the big boys down the middle. Yeah.
Get follow Zuccarello in there. Gets a couple points,
Yeah. Fuck that Zuccarello. Good stick, eh? Just the other night against the Leafs, he's just getting a stick it everywhere, swish, and I'm like, this guy's just still got it.
That's a long piece of lumber, the Norwegian. Yeah. He's always up here. He's got his elbow. He's like he's diving into just a salad bowl. He can't get the last bite out of it. It's like his elbow is really up high. It's crazy. He's just like looks like he's fishing for something when he's got that thing up there, and all of a sudden it pokes it away from you. And it's his little plays in the neutral zone he makes too, like those 2-foot passes. It's just so silky.
Yeah, he's a nice little player, and he's had a real nice career. So shout out to the winner, Peter Holland, I hope I said that right, 140 points. He had McTavish and Forsberg, 23 points each. Kyle was 17th, Richie Fella, 26th, Princey, 27th, Obes, 38th, and Captain Brento, Updog's brother, was 50th, which is pretty near dead last, which you don't see that on Brento a lot. But like Richie said, it's fun, get in the mix, more guys play, the more money there is up to grabs, so get some skin in the game at DraftKings, baby. Fellas, get that guy a Labatt Blue.
Presented by Labatt Blue Light, the pristine Pilsner Obes. Enjoy your beers together so you can live life to the power of we. Folks, always enjoy responsibly. Beer, Labatt USA, Buffalo, New York.
Hey, Richie, you know when you say like you play with a guy, like you can't teach that. Some guys have it, some guys don't. You can't teach that read right there, that Jay Swift. That's just natural God-given ability, isn't it?
Let's see if this guy to announcing at a strip club.
Right? Or voiceovers. We got to get you like in Hollywood doing voiceovers. Kevin Conley said the best job he ever had was he did the voiceovers for Best Buy. He's like, oh, but you sit, bro, you sit in an air-conditioned studio, bro, and you just read this off, and they just give you these checks. He's like, it's unbelievable. And I think we got to get Swishy in the mix. Yeah, wouldn't it?
That'd be a great.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Get this guy.
I want Buffer's job, though, boys. That's what I'm coming for.
You want to be the UFC ring announcer?
100%.
Wow.
I'd love to do that.
Well, hey, he's getting a little long in the tooth. I'd say stay ready.
I know. I am.
You got to have a nice
hot tea every night. Lemon water. Just dialing in the vocal, staying in the steamer. I'm doing all the prerequisites to put myself in that position.
You got to have a nice suit guy, Taylor right on, like ready to rock if you ever got that job. Because the next guy that goes in that octagon, you got to look sharp. Because Buffer, those jackets are next level.
Yeah. Doesn't Buffer have like a 40-year-old girlfriend too? Just a smoke show?
Yeah, I think so.
You should.
Yeah. He charges like $399 per cameo. I bet she's making bank on cameo.
Like my cousin got me one for my birthday back in October.
There you go. From Buffer. Fighting. Raining.
Out of Verona, Wisconsin.
Buddy, when I go to UFCs, I watch him before the fights. He's stretching. He's fucking I'm like, this guy is a pro. He's ready to rock. And I guarantee he likes a blue light switch.
Yes. Probably a stiff whiskey too.
Get this guy Labatt Blue. Connor Bedard. Richie's telling me for all year, he's 19. He's 19. Fuck, he's 19. Lay off him, you bully. You're a fucking bully. Well, listen, the other night they cost me a lot of my hard-earned fucking NHL and Missin Curfew money. They went in to beat the Tampa Bay Lightning. Their goalie Soderbergh still in his head. But Connor Bedard picked this puck up the new top of the circles. Didn't love the switch up top, Richie, with the forwards like in the center. Fucking talk it out. Anyways, he comes around down short side, and for whatever reason, Johansson does this stupid, what's it called? The reverse C, or where they go down to one knee?
Reverse VH.
Reverse VH. Goes down to one knee, and Connor Bedard goes absolutely spink-dink, short side titty. Fella, I know you don't drink. I know you're too young, but get yourself a Labatt Blue. And Richie, like Jay Swish's voice, that's the shit you can't teach. That was spink-dink, man.
Yeah, there was no doubt this kid can shoot it as good as anyone.
Holy fuck.
He's came on. He's playing better. He's playing a little better brand of hockey than he was earlier in the year when you were fucking all over this kid. But
no, he's playing way better. And I heard a rumor, I think it might have been Kyle Conway, actually. Well, if we're going to stir the pot, let's get Cons' name in there, about that Rantanen's going to end up in Chicago. And I just hope he does, so I don't have to listen to Upshaw for the next year telling me that he's got nobody to play with. Because if they bring in Mikko Rantanen, if the Carolina can't re-sign him, then there's the guy he needs, right? Like a superstar like that.
I mean, yes, I think Connor would already be all in on Rantanen in his line.
Yeah. He's playing with Bertuzzi. I watched the play the other night. He's playing with Bertuzzi. Good player. Goes in that.
I'm not saying, but I mean, there's a different level of Bertuzzi and Rantanen. And Rantanen's a 50-goal scorer pretty much every, last couple of years, 100-point guy. Bertuzzi's a nice little player, but there's a little bit of a gap there.
There's a little gap there, isn't there?
A little gap here. Yeah. There's some acres to farm, as they would say.
You know who if I was a GM, if I had my GM hat on, who I'd be fucking sniffing at the deadline is this Ryan Donato. I don't know him as a kid. I don't know if he's a good kid, a nerd biscuit. I like his game, though. He plays pretty hard. He goes to dirty areas and can shoot it. You guys like his game at all?
He's all right.
He's all right?
Why does he bounce around so much? Is it just bad bounces, fresh start? He's kind of been all over the place. Hobbs?
No, it's a fair question. It's a fair question.
I would be doing my homework on him in that way.
Yeah. Very guys, where you see him playing, Obes? Like, where you're up. I don't think on a good team he's a top 6 player.
I was just gonna say, I don't know. He's playing fourth line. He's playing fourth line center for the Hawks right now. So if you're playing fourth line for the Hawks, the next thing you know, you're playing for the Chicago Wolves in the jungle.
I was gonna say, you going on a Calder run?
Yeah. Like, I think they should bump him up the lineup. Kyle, check how many goals Ryan Donato has. I think he has 12 goals. 12
goals.
13.
I guess 12.
Yeah, I think he's got 12. That's pretty good. What is it, January here?
He can score. He scores. Everywhere he's went, he's kind of got that 10 to 15 goals, but he just never no one trusts him in the top 6 on a good team.
Yeah.
He's got 15 this year, boys.
15? He'll get 20.
29 points total.
Nope.
But as we play
Good numbers, but
yeah, I mean, he plays more than fourth line minutes, but Jay Swish, you're onto something here. But moving on, get this guy a Labatt Blue. I'm going to keep dishing, boys. Hang with me here. Tyson Barrie. Bears, I love you. He hadn't played since November 24th. Fuck, that's Thanksgiving, isn't it? We were eating turkey, watching football, having stuffing, drinking Crown Royal. Went down for a little conditioning stint at 3 points in 2 games. Came back for the Flames, had a great match. I watched the whole game. Unbelievable at work in the, up top on the power play. Had a great assist, made great plays all night. Looked like a National Leaguer. I'd like to see them get in there a little bit more. So to Tyson Barrie, get yourself a Labatt Blue, fella. Good to see you back in the National League. And how do you say this guy's name in Washington? Protas?
Protas.
Yeah. Protas. Listen, this guy, 42 points in 50 games. Watched him play the other night against Calgary. Didn't realize how big he was, Richie. This guy is a beast. There was a puck that spit out for an empty netter, and poor Tyson Barrie was in a foot race. Well, this big boy just put the fucking afterburners on and was gone. So to this guy, get yourself a Labatt Blue. He's an absolute beast for them, Rich.
He's regretting signing that long-term deal, isn't he, right now? A little bit?
No, for sure, man. Those are, 42 and 50. How are you?
This guy's 6'5", he can skate, score. He's probably a $6 million player right now.
He's a monster, man. I couldn't figure out how big he was. He's a monster switch.
Yeah. He's one of the better players.
Big time.
Do you think that team is legit? Do you think the Capitals? I just look at them like, Spencer Car Battery, as I call them, probably up for the Jack Adams. This team, they're up for the President's Trophy as of January, whatever the 29th we're at right now. But it's just like, for me, I would still be a little skeptical come playoff time with the Washington Capitals. But they are firing on all cylinders, and everyone in their lineup that they did expect big years from, they're actually outperforming that too. Even a guy like Jacob Chikrin on the back end. Rasmus Sandin has looked good. Carlson's looked good back there. Oops.
Yeah, you know what? It's so funny you say that. Like I said, I was watching them last week or this week, and I'm like, yeah, they're up for the President's Trophy. But like to me, and I love Tom Wilson. I love everything this guy does, and I think they could be a first round upset though. Like if you're a wild card too, and you get the Caps in the first round. Logan Thompson's having a great year, but I'm with you, Swish. I wouldn't be surprised if come the first round of the playoffs, somebody could knock them off. I just think a lot of guys are overachieving. Veteran guys have gone in there, and with Ovi chasing the great one, and I give Spencer Carberry a lot of credit. He's got him going, but I'm with you. I could see them getting bounced in the first round. I wouldn't be like, wow, I can't believe they lost.
Yeah, exactly. I just look at their team, and it just seems like everyone has rallied around that rally cry for Ovi to chase Gretzky, to get him to this number. And then I don't know. We'll see once he gets that number, can they sustain the success? Those are just questions I have for that team, because I'm looking at their roster on paper, and they're a solid hockey club. It's just I think there's a lot of good teams in the East, and a lot of teams that even at a wild card position could challenge them and knock them out in a first round matchup.
Yeah, I'm with you. So Kyle Conway, you're dishing out a blue light, fella. Of course, we're going back to the Hurricanes here. What do you got?
Yeah, you know me. Sorry, boys. It's just a good old Peterborough, Ontario boy, Riley Stillman. His dad won a cup with the Canes, Corey Stillman, and this kid got his first start with the Hurricanes the other night. Had a great game, went out there and chucked them, got in a nice fight, wore his dad's number. Just a really cool story, when your dad wins the cup there and you're back with that squad. So cool for his family, cool for him, and hopefully he can crack the lineup here for a few more games.
Yeah, I saw that, and actually, I played with Corey Stillman, his dad's wife's brother, Sean Stefanski. I don't know if you remember that name, Rich. He played with me in Kingston. I believe his old man, Bud Stefanski, was a head coach of the Barrie Colts, I believe. So I used to hang out at Corey Stillman's cottage just north of Peterborough when me and Steffer were buddies, and great guy. Corey Stillman's a great guy. I went to his cup party when I was a kid, and I remember he used to work out with Scott Stevens. Scott Stevens lived across the lake. So one day he's like, but you and Sean are going to work out with us, right? I'm a fucking milk bag. This is before I even met Richie, I think. Like I don't even know if I've ever really worked out. Oh no, I knew Richie was junior. And Scott Stevens comes across with his tarp off in his boat and gets off the boat, and it just like, he looks like the Hulk, boys. Like chest hair and just jacked. I'm like, and we worked out with him and Scott Stevens, and Scott Stevens put on this clinic in the gym that I just never forgot. I'm like, wow, this guy is a machine, Richie.
Yeah. I can't imagine how big he was. Some else hits he put on the Big E.
Oh, I know. I'm like, I don't think I can play in this league. I better go to school. I better go to fucking University of PEI or something here, right? Fucking start selling insurance. I'm like, this guy's a fucking beast. Like, Jesus.
Go Windsor. Where are we going?
All right, where are we going, boys? Richie, dish out a blue light, fella.
You know what? This one's kind of off the board a little bit, fellas. But went down the dark YouTube hole the other night, and I got into some Darcy Tucker highlights and old clips. But I want to get him a beer because this clip just made me laugh and just remembering my days as a huge Leafs fan growing up. Well, he jumps into the bench to fight Chris Neal is one of the this guy's nails, man. He's 5'10", 5'11", maybe 185 pounds, and this guy's tough as nails. And just want to throw him a beer, and just all-time middleweight tough guy for me.
Yeah, well deserved. Tux, get yourself a blue light. I know he loves a good blue light. I played against Tux early in my career. Loved him as a Leaf. Was one of my favorite Leafs when I was playing junior in Kingston and St. Mike's, and not very big, man. You're right. Tux is fuck all, and he would go out there and chuck him and stand in there. And I mean, some of the hits he had. I mean, he hit that cap in him. Remember in playoffs against Philly?
Yeah, it's Philly. Yeah.
I mean, that's 20 fucking games now. They might kick you out of the league, but that captain he was sucking it. He couldn't get to the bench. That was hockey back then. So Richie, good on you. Tuck's a good dude. Actually, wants to come to the alumni game next year in Aspen, so we're gonna get him there. But Darcy Tucker, get yourself a Labatt Blue, Richie. I love that.
Darcy Tucker, boys. I mean, just the highlights. I caught the tail end of his career, but I would always used to, back in the day, whenever we were playing beer pong back home in Wisconsin, I would always throw my Darcy Tucker jersey on just because you have to be a nails when you're shooting on the wood. So that was my fond memory of Darcy Tucker. I was like, my God, this guy, just an absolute player. So I love that, Rich. I'm going to keep it in the family. Speaking about pumping the Schmaltz boys' tires, I was pumping my own tires in the other segment of the Dog of the Week. Now I'm going to get this guy a beer, but get Nicky Schmaltz a beer, boys. Got his 400th National Hockey League point last night against the Pittsburgh Penguins. That was a game. Obviously, Sid ended in OT and called game, but Nicky Schmaltz, 400 points, 556 matches. That's good for just over .72 points per game, so a pretty good clip there and a respectable clip. It was a nice little pass he had on the power play. It was a little play into the middle. The box kind of collapsed, and then he sent a no-look backhand dish to the top of the key to Sergachev, who was coming downhill, got it right around the top of the circles, and went cheddar with it. So, Nicky Schmaltz, I'm going to get him a beer, boys. It was a great pass. 400 points. That's pretty good, Opes. Not bad start for the young man out of Verona, Wisconsin.
400 points in the National League is legit, and like you said, he's just getting going. I watched the third period of that game. I love the way you broke down the goal, from the chin of Scottsdale, as you would say. I thought he did a hell of a job breaking it down. Sergachev, what a shot. Sid just came off the bench. How did he get that wrap? Where did he get it up over? He just got it, he found between the glove and the pad. Fucking, that's Crosby. He can, how do you find that?
Well, I don't know. We don't have the answer sitting here.
We don't.
Talking about it.
We don't have the answer.
Play, though, once he touched that puck and he got that just on that little, play, little slip play for a little backhand kind of, the guy used him as a pick, as a defender, and then Crosby just wheels his way in. And that's one of those drills you see all the time forwards doing after morning skate or even after a practice, just working on little plays in tight. Obes, how many times do you think he's done that in practice and scored? Probably almost 90% of them. It's just it wasn't over the glove. Yeah. It wasn't underneath it. It was just in between the pad and the glove, and he knew it was going to be in the whole way. It was just so silky.
It was crazy.
He scored a lot of goals in that little spot, though. You know what I mean? Around the net.
He can find that little spot, can he? Sometimes you got to find that little spot, Rich. Hey, find that little spot, bud. Oh, I just want to say something too about your brother. I got to play with your brother, and he's such a crafty player, man. He's so smart, and he deserves all the credit. He's such a good teammate, great guy, and he just plays. He knows how to play hockey, and he's a great athlete in general. But he was just such a great guy to play with. So let's go on him. That's 400 points is an amazing career, and he's just still halfway through it. So once I started watching him even more after I knew Jay Swish and this and that, his hockey IQ is high. He always knows where to find those little holes. And then I watched him at the start of the year. My boy, shout out to Dennis Shannon in the seats. And when they were working the power play in front of me, I was in the first row there in the corner. Nicky just knew. It was going through Nicky kind of, and Kells, but Nicky knew where to go, and you go up here, over here, back up. Very, very intelligent hockey player. You can't teach that.
No, and you guys know how valuable that bumper spot is. I think sometimes he gets a little bit rattled because he'd want to play on the half wall, but the hockey club, they need that guy in the middle of the ice to be almost the second quarterback out there, the facilitator, to find that little weak area, to be able to just, he knows where to put the puck before it even gets to him. It's just how to avoid the pressure or who to kick it out to. So you just saw a prime example on that goal where Pittsburgh, they collapsed so far in, dots below, and all of a sudden, he's able to find Sergachev, who is at the top of the key and ready just to absolutely laser one in. So, yeah, it was a nice apple there.
Hockey Club getting a lot of TNT action this year. A lot of TNT games. I feel like they've been on there like that was their 4th time, no? Like a lot of love for the fucking Hockey Club. And
100% they have.
Jay Swish, I think it was Biz's Instagram, actually. They're down to either the Hockey Club or the Mammoth. I say we just go with the Mammoth here, right? I mean, I got no problem keeping them the Hockey Club, but I think I saw it on Biz's with the Utah Mammoth with the big...
And 15 minutes ago, they announced that the Outlaws are back in the running.
I saw. The Outlaws.
Yeah.
For a place that you can't order a double vodka or a double drink or barely have a shot, the Outlaws would be a hilarious name.
Yeah. Right. I don't think when I think of Utah and Salt Lake City, I don't think, look out for those Outlaws, Rich. Those Outlaws are going to get you.
Well, I used to love that, just Utah Grizzlies when they had the minor league team.
Yeah, I love the Grizzlies
I thought
too.
The Grizzlies would be a good name for them. I don't know if there's a trademark thing or something.
Big Country Reeves. Remember Big Country Reeves back in the day for the Vancouver Grizzlies? Old Big Country with his cowlick, eh? He was cowlick out there mucking it up.
Yeah. What was the other name on there that I couldn't even pronounce the thing?
Yeah, it's on here. I'm not even going to try to pronounce it. I don't know what it is.
Wasatch.
The Utah Wasatch.
Wasatch? What the fuck is that?
Fuck the vital. That's why I didn't even try to attempt.
Whoever put that on there should be fired instantly.
The Wasatch, it's the mountain range over in Utah, the Wasatch Range.
There you go.
It's not going to work.
That's not going to work.
What are you doing with that?
You're not that's like Ari Gold. You're like, get the fuck out. You're fired. And if your ears don't work, get the fuck out.
Yeah, that's not perfect.
The Hockey Club.
I don't mind the Hockey Club.
I like the Grizzlies. When they first came back, I'm with you, Rich. I thought the Utah Grizzlies would be good. I'm okay with the Mammoth though too, but I wouldn't be opposed to keeping them as the Hockey Club either. I like just a classy, clean the Hockey Club. It's fun to say.
Hockey Club. Yeah, it is good.
Yeah.
3 times fast.
Yeah.
I think you would have to have some sort of mascot to go with it. It would kind of be similar to how the Phoenix Suns down here, how they operate. They have like this gorilla mascot. So I think you'd have to have some sort of mascot to go with the Hockey Club to pair it. But it is classy, and the Hockey Club looks nice on those jerseys. I'm not sure if I'm really even sold on Mammoth. Yeah. I think it's Smitty. Hey, give us a call over here. We'll talk through it. I think Hockey Club's here to stay.
Yeah, don't panic. Take your time. We've come this far. By the way, the gorilla for the Phoenix Sun is one of the most famous mascots. You know, he always goes top cheese and comes down with.
He's getting around the trampoline.
Yeah, gets caught on fire and shit, doesn't he? Like he's dedicated to his craft. I heard something, man. One mascot making like $750 for a team. Like some mascot.
It's the Denver, the Nuggets.
$750.
Yeah, it was like 600, 650 maybe. Yeah.
Got any double XL costumes up? Any double XL suits, boys? I'll get out there and fucking jump through the hoop for you. $650 here.
Tell you lose some weight. It was on for a night. You lose some weight quick.
Yeah, like Stan Kroenke paying his mascot for the Nuggets more than a 6th defenseman on the Avalanche who won a cup.
Yeah, exactly.
What are we doing here? And he's only got to do home games.
Yeah. They're like, you're gonna want to dry clean that suit after tonight, boys. That was a little sticky out there. Now you're gonna want to get that one dry cleaned. Fellas, always get a Labatt Blue. Nicky Schmaltz, 400. Keep it going, boys. It's milk carton time here at Missin Curfew. I was gonna put somebody on, but I looked at his numbers, and his numbers are better than mine everywhere, so I can't fucking put him on there. But we're taking somebody off the milk carton, and this is great to take this guy off the milk carton because the NHL is better with him in it. The LA Kings are better with him in it. Drew Doughty is coming off the milk carton. Played last night against Florida. Wants to play in the Four Nations, Rich, and this is why I wanted to talk to you about it. You want a cup with him. He's one of your good buddies. You know I love Dewey as well. I'm pushing hard for Weegsy, baby, just because he's been playing. But I get it from Dewey's perspective and LA Kings' perspective. Everyone goes out on break. He comes in and plays. He'll come out of the break flying. Can he jump right in and play, Rich? You know this guy better than I do.
Well, I mean, I love Drew. First off, best guy going, hilarious. I know he wants to play super bad. He's totally out. He wants to play. This guy came in last night, played almost 24 minutes after being out for 4 months. So
that's crazy.
This guy doesn't.
He's a minute muncher. He's always been a minute muncher.
Look at his resume, Obes. 2 cups, 2 Olympic gold medals. The guy's won everything. All he cares about is competing and winning. So for me, I love Weegsy, but you get a veteran guy like this who's been there, done that. It's tough to turn him away if he wants to play. No, unless this guy, I don't care if he doesn't play. He's going to show up and be the best player. That's just what he does.
When I first retired, I played against Dewey when he was early in his career, right? He started in 08, 09, so I played against him for the majority of my career, really. Fuck, he's been in the league a long time. But people used to ask me, who's the best defenseman in the NHL? I say Drew Doughty. overall back in, I'm talking from 2011 to 15, 16, 17, whatever you want to call it. When you guys won your 2 mugs, you could throw Shea Weber in there, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some guys, but Drew Doughty, that was the guy. Guy's a gamer, right-handed shot, can play power play, can play penalty kill. Remember, he used to have that little hip check he could have done too. Like, the guy's the ultimate gamer. I got no problem with that, but if I'm John Cooper and Doug Armstrong, I'm just concerned he hasn't been playing and jumping in with, taking on Jack Eichel in the USA on a Saturday night at the Bell Center. It's like, are you ready for this, Dewey?
Yeah. Well, Larry Keller thing, I would say to that, and Drew's been working his ass off. He's been skating for a while. He's been working out hard. He's going to play a few games before they probably going to make a decision and see how he does. But, I remember Drew going to the Olympics in 2010. I think he was 19 years old or 20, just turned 20 maybe. Those Olympics, he's been in the league for the second year maybe or third year. He went in and everyone was nervous. Oh, Drew Doughty's on his team. He's too young. He went in and was playing with Scott Niedermayer, and he was probably their best defenseman in the tournament.
Yeah.
He won a gold medal. I don't doubt this kid ever. He's a gamer.
Yeah, I'm with you. And Richie obviously has played with him, and I've got a little bit of a taste of just playing a few games against him, skating a little bit with him in the summers. And I think he's just one of those guys where it doesn't matter if he's been skating Obes. It doesn't matter what time the game is. It doesn't matter what he's done before it. He just shows up. If the puck drops at 7, he might be there at 6:58, and he's going to be the best player on the ice. It just doesn't matter. Like, I don't think he's one of those guys that gets in his headspace of, oh my God, I haven't played. My prep work maybe not there. Maybe I don't have as many reps or games this season leading up to this tournament. I think when the lights are on at the Bell Center and that puck drops, he's going to make an impact, and he's probably going to be one of their, if not their best defensemen. I just think he's one of those guys where he doesn't get rattled, nothing bothers him, easy going, and he's a hockey player. He's a fucking gamer. And
well said.
Those guys, that's what they do. It doesn't matter. There's no excuses.
He is a fucking hockey player. That is well said. His picture here, beard, no teeth, hair slicked back, fucking chewing. I think he's got a chew in. All right, maybe a little hung. Fuck, he's a hockey player, boys. And listen, you have Drew Doughty or Mackenzie Weegar. It's going to be good for Team Canada. So that's well said by both of you guys. Dewey, welcome back, fella. It's good to see you snapping around. Back up the Brinks truck here. Beep, beep, beep. Back her up, boys. Brandon Saad finally placed on waivers. Never been a huge fan of this guy. I don't know. I'm sure he's a good guy. I hate his style. Awful style. Never thought he was fast or good. I know he won a cup and all that stuff. But, anyways, they put him on waivers. Doug Armstrong's going a different direction. This guy's about to forfeit $5 million, Rich, because he doesn't want to go to the jungle. And I get it. The jungle sucks. But it's January 30th right here. February, March, April is all you have left in the season. Then you force the St. Louis Blues to maybe buy you out, and then you sign for league minimum. Maybe he's got good investments, a lot of Microsoft, although Microsoft's down today, but I wouldn't be leaving $5 million on the table, Rich. I'd be going to ride the bus for 5 bananas and make these fuckers buy me out.
Yeah, I'm with you. $5 million is tough to come up with. I mean, it's a short career. I would do the same. I don't know. Maybe there's just something going on with his family. Who knows? I don't know what the situation is, but $5 million is a lot. I would go same as you. Go ride the bus for a few months, get bought out, hopefully sign a league minimum or go on a tryout and make the team. But he must have something. This deal is obviously happening because he's got something else going on, right? I'm guessing a contender is going to sign him.
Yeah, but for what? $750?
I don't know. For $750.
Yeah, prorated $750.
And then what's he get next year? Let's say he goes and fucking wins the Stanley Cup. Does he get? Well, then maybe he'll make his money back if he wins the Stanley Cup. But if they get bounced in the first round, he's right back to making $750 again next year, and he's in one. Swish, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the best case scenario, if he won a cup and was a factor on that team, he's still not getting north of $2 a year.
No,
especially on a multi-year deal. He's probably looking at just over 7 figures if everything goes well, right? Maybe 1.5, somewhere in there. That's a lot of dough to leave on the table. It's hard to make $5 million, boys. I mean, I've never made it in my life, and it's just like, if you have it, maybe just go down to Springfield. They got an MGM casino there. You can hang out. Hey, maybe even fake an injury and just hang out and just find a way to maybe punt this thing to the summer where, I don't know, it seems like a little bit of a panic move, but again, at the same time, betting on yourself, Obes, in the same breath, I do respect that. This guy maybe can find a spot where he can go have a long playoff run and just, leave it up for a gamble.
Was he playing that bad? I don't.
Here's his numbers this year. He's 43 games, 7 goals, 9 assists. He's minus 14.
I mean, that's not terrible.
No.
I just think I heard Army's press. I heard Army stuff on social media. They just want to they want to give somebody else a look. There's got to be somebody in the jungle that he wants to bring up that they just got to get rid of him, and it opens up some cap space for him.
The hair he's got going alone was a reason to get him out.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he scored 31 in Columbus, 20 a bunch of times. I mean, he is a goal scorer, Rich, right? He can find the back of the net.
Yeah, that's why I'm shocked. A team that is trying to make a playoff run is getting rid of a Stanley Cup champion that scored.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
yeah,
they even have those other guys that they paid too, like Texier and Matthew Joseph. Like Matthew Joseph signed a 2-year deal at 2.5, and he's got 5 points this year in 33 games.
Yeah.
That Texier is not having a good year either. They brought him in on a multi-year deal as well, I believe, and he's got 8 points in 24 games. I just think, Saad had like a hat trick 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Now he's getting put on waivers. He's got to buy himself out. Where does he end up, though? Is it Edmonton? Is it Toronto? Someone's going to grab him.
Yeah, Toronto's out there. There were some rumors about Toronto. And listen, he's made a lot of money. He's been in the league forever. But this isn't like it's $1 million. If it was $1 million, I'd be like, all right, this is $5 million he's about to just – like, I guarantee whenever he retires and he's been in the league 5 years and he's sitting there and the bills are starting to add up, he's like, I could use that $5 million. I fucking should have went to – where do these guys play? Springy? I should have went to Springy or Peoria or fucking – it's $5 million, man.
Yeah. Well, I'm with you there. That's I don't know who made that decision, but
we'll take it. Can they send it to Missin Curfew? We'll take it. We'll all split it up. Have a time, fellow tour. $5 million. But last but not least, around the National League here, boys, best league in the world. I just heard a quote from Tom Wilson the other day that I pictured myself on the Caps going city to city. He said, Tom Wilson said about Ovi, everywhere we go right now, he's a rock star. People want to take his pictures. They're just cameras up. Every time you get off the bus, there's video on him. It's just like, imagine being on that team right now and, they're playing great and Ovi's trying to chase down Gretzky and everywhere you go, there's a buzz in the city. And I got jealous and I just thought that's fucking NHL right there. You're getting off the bus. There's cameras. People want pictures of Ovi just to get a glimpse of him. Eh, Rich?
yeah, I mean, it's a pretty special run. Obviously, it's historic, obviously, what's going on. So, I mean, I have always loved Ovi. He's just such a character. I've never got to like hang with him or talk to him, but always a guy you want to go and have some beers with. That's for sure, right?
100%. 100%.
Isn't it crazy? We were talking about it a little bit last episode, Obes, and just about how there's a league within the league, and he's one of those guys that it's just like he has that rock star status. I mean, he's going to be the greatest goal scorer of all time, but it's crazy when you get into that 8-figure club of those guys that have just done it for that long, and they're on your team, but maybe you're just a role player. You kind of just see the difference of like, wow, this guy. I mean, everyone wants a picture with him. Everyone, we got on the team bus, or we're off the bird, or we're going in the rink. Everyone's got a pen and a pad, or a picture to sign, or a stick, and they're not looking for me. They're looking for the grade 8. It's amazing when you see those guys at that level. It literally, they're rock star status through and through.
Yeah. And you know what, Ovi, when I was playing in Vancouver, I came out after a game and I text Peter Gurgis. I'm like, where the fuck are you? And where is everyone? Like, why is this city dead? We just played, we won. Like, where? He's like, I'm throwing the Capitals rookie party. Come by. I'm like, I'm not coming to the other team's rookie party. He's like, no, Obs, there's tons of other people here. It's not just their team. It's a full-on huge shaker. So I was like, fuck, okay, I'll go over there. So I went over there, slid over there, and I get there, and it's not just their team. There's tons of people I know from Vancouver. But the first two guys I asked if I was all right, I went to John Erskine. I was like, hey, Erskine, is it okay if I'm here? Like, is this cool? Like, I know. He's like, yeah, you're fine. And then I saw Ovi. And I'm like, Ovi, is it okay if I got some friends here? He's like, yeah, have a good time. I was like, fuck, this guy's okay, but okay with me. So I pretty much ended up crashing the Washington Capitals rookie party, and Ovi gave me the green light, Rich. So I think I was last man standing there, bud. I think I was last man standing.
Have it, Obs. They have it at Pierre's, or where do they?
No, they fucking rented out, I think they rented out a big boy suite at Pan Pacific, or like, it was it was massive. And Peter brought in bartenders and turned this suite into Pierre's, basically. This was before Pierre's. And it was but Peter invited all my friends from Vancouver. Like, everybody in the bar industry was there, and the Caps. So it wasn't like I just walked in there and it was just their team, right? So but I did ask Erskine, because I didn't want him to pump my eyes shut the next night. And I asked Ovi, and Ovi said, hey, have time, bud. So I think I was last man standing there, me and Gurgis. I think I locked the door for the boys. Hey, I'll lock up for you, boys. Last but not least here, before we get to our guest, Drew Shore, boys, 4 nations captains have been announced. I'm okay with all of them. Barkov, Hedman, Crosby, I'm fine with. Swishy, I want to ask you about Austin Matthews. Captain America now. Get him on a Wheaties box. Was that the slam dunk? Was that the slam dunk captain? I mean, he's not, I think he's hurt, but he's not having his best year, but it's still, he's the guy.
I think he is. I think he's the face of USA Hockey from where it is right now, and just
the guys on that team, I think that's who they look to, right? You have obviously McAvoy's going to be the assistant captain on that squad, and then you have Matty Tkachuk as well, I believe. Is it Matty or is it Brady?
Matty.
Yeah, Matty. Okay, so you have those guys as the leadership crew or the core of that team, but I think Matthews, I think it's a no-brainer. I think that is your guy. He's the guy that tucked 69 goals last year. He still has 20 this year, but I think if you're looking just at one guy on that team, he's Captain American fella. I think he's just Matt's 34. That's who the boys will be looking to for sure.
Yeah, I think it helped that the Leafs made him captain. He's already a captain. Like, right, I to me, and I'm always biased here, but I thought, either Jack Eichel or Matty Tkachuk, because they both have won cups, but neither one of them are captains for their NHL club, right? Rich, do you think that might have played something in it? This guy's already wearing the C for the Leafs?
Yeah, probably. I don't know if he could make a wrong choice. Matty's a great leader, but I would, preferably, I would say probably Matty Tkachuk.
Yeah.
Because, I've got to play with him and see in his leadership, but I don't think there's a wrong choice there. And, everyone's going to be, there's a lot of leaders on this team. I don't think that, there's really a wrong choice anywhere.
Yeah, that's well said. It's just got to be cool to be called Captain America too, right? That's got to feel good. Like, cock gets a little longer, right? Captain America? Yeah, Captain America. How are you, sweetheart? How you doing there?
I even think, too, Obes, just in terms of pumping out what USA Hockey is, he is the current face of that. You're looking at jersey sales. You're looking at different things. I think he's just a no-brainer, not only in the room, but also off the ice with, just different things of who people are looking at. Sometimes that makes a little bit of a difference. And, in the room, too, just because you have the C on, there's a lot of leaders. I mean, pretty much all those guys at least rock A's on their teams in the National League. So as big of a deal as it is, or it may seem like at the same time, as you guys know, a lot of times those good teams are just led by committee.
Fucking Jay Swish thinking as a businessman. Hey, that's what he is, folks. He's not just a pretty face. He's a businessman as well. So, boys, always a pleasure snapping around with you. Our guest, glue guy, Drew Shore, coming at you next, fella. Welcome back to Missin Curfew, Jay Swish. You're the people's insider. This guy is a man of the people. Glue guy, one of my favorite teammates that I played with when I went back down to the jungle. It's never easy going back down there, but this guy made it fun. And when I thought I was having a bad day, I could just look at this guy because he was typically more miserable than I was. But Drew Shore, Shorzy, thank you for taking the time and joining Missin Curfew, fella.
Thanks for having me on. Love listening to your guys' show and fun to snap it around.
Yeah, I had to bring in the People's Insider for you. That was his, not request, but when I asked him to come on, he said, is the People's Insider going to be snapping around that day? And I said, for you, Shorzy, I'll make sure the busiest guy in media right here, Shorzy. Hey, he's the busiest guy in media.
Yeah, I knew if I wanted to come on, I wanted the PP1 squad. So I'm happy that you guys provided that for me.
Yeah, boys, we can snap it around here. And I just, it's an honor and privilege to be here every time we're snapping around. Where did you guys start off playing together? Was it in San Antonio where you're running around the Riverwalk? Were you high stepping around the quarry? Like, Obi, what was that season? Was that the year that you got sent down from Florida?
Yeah, I went in Florida on a PTO, and Shorzy, I don't know if you remember, but I had a pretty good camp. I thought, like, fuck, there's no way Dale's gonna, send me down, and he right to the bitter end, and then he pulls me off the bus in West Point. And he's like, hey, are you going to take this deal or not? And I'm like, it's a shitty fucking deal. Give me a one-way. He's like, I got rollback on a one-way. I'm like, send rollback to the Jungles. Guys played 4 fucking games. Like, give me league minimum. And then he's like, what are you going to do, go to Russia? I'm like, I might go to Russia, Dale. And he's like, take the deal. You're still getting bought out by the Flames. I'm like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, I made the squad. So anyways, signed the deal. Down I go. And I was buried down there with Shorzy till I think I got called up in January. But I liked it there, Shorzy. You had some mornings there where you weren't thrilled to be down there, were you?
No, I mean, anyone who knows, like, if you get a little taste of the NHL, going back down there can be tough. I was on a rant recently. I actually think it's good for guys to start there, but it's tough going the other way. But no, it was fun to have you down there. And I know that your game takes a lot of flack on here, but Quincy and I were actually talking recently. When you were in your prime, man, you were big, heavy, and you could make a pass. So it was fun. You were a nice addition down there.
Yeah, thank you. Just a couple off-ice issues here or there. The commitment to the game at times was questioned. But down there, I was trying to work my way back up, and I had guys like you and Butsy and the Hammer, guys that were trying. Butsy played a little bit in the NHL, but you guys were trying to establish yourself as NHLers, and you guys were NHLers. You guys just needed a bounce. So it was nice to have guys down there that could actually play. You know what I mean? Because when I went back down there, I was like, fuck, I hope I have guys that can at least snap it around. And you guys were all NHL quality players, so it made it a lot easier than, just going out there with the third and fourth line some nights. And it's tough in the jungle, Shorzy.
Yeah, we had a good squad. And San Antonio, it sucks they don't have a team because that was such a great spot. I mean, the facility, sharing it with the Spurs was nice. The weather's good places to live, eat. It actually blown up a lot, I think, even now since we played there. So overall, we had a great group of guys, and that made it a little bit less miserable down there.
Yeah, I would just go to Austin, Jay Swish, any chance I could get. On a Saturday night game, I would just be like, Weegsy, have your fucking shit packed, jumping in my car, we're going right to Austin. It's like an hour and a half drive, Swish. I'd be like, how is there so many good-looking people in Austin and just fucking mutants in San Antonio? Like, it was, for a single guy, I got a couple bounces throughout the year that helped, but it was thin, fella. It wasn't perfect, Jay Swish.
No, I got sent down there one year too, boys, from St. Louis because they were the farm team there at the time. And, oh, my God, it's like what Charles Barkley always says on TNT to all those beautiful big women in San Antonio eating the queso and the ribs. Like, he always is chirping the beautiful women, the big women of San Antonio. And you see Shaq on the other side of the panel. He's just losing his mind. But that's like a whole Charles Barkley bit he does about the women in San Antonio. All those butchy women of San Antonio. And that's exactly what I had to do too, Obi. We'd always be going up to Austin because, as you know, Rainy Street back in the day, West 6, the Domain, those areas. I mean, you could find some high-end talent, and not only just talent, but just a good time. You couldn't find that on the Riverwalk or some of these random odd areas in San Antonio. It was such a spread-out city, and it was like a cowboy, military, and Hispanic town all just influxed into one. It had a weird vibe. Besides the sun, I didn't love it there, Phil.
No, I know. And Shorzy, what was the bar called? Was it called Cowboys, the country bar they had there?
Yeah, Cowboys.
Yeah. They had Cowboys, and then there's another bar that was closer to the quarry, in between the quarry and the airport. It's called the Hangar. I don't know if you guys ever went there. A dive bar that was shaped as like an airplane on the top of it. I used to just go there and get absolutely pinned by a friend of the show, Chris Butler. He lived right there, and we'd go set up and just hammer Bud Light buckets. But other than that, yeah, if you were a single guy in that town running around the Riverwalk, I mean, you're not sniffing much.
No, sometimes you got to create your own bounces.
Yeah, well said. Sometimes you do, but I mean, we had a good hockey club that year. And Shorzy, do you remember, like, what would you always used to say to me? You're like, this isn't the real estate league here, Obes. I'm trying to buy a house in Denver. I got to get one. Is that what you always say to me, or what would you always say every morning down there?
I forget the line, but I just remember, like, we had so many guys who were like pretty good and wanted to be in the NHL. So it was like the comedy in the locker room was all time, especially when, like, I don't know, you're busing to Oklahoma City and then you're back on the sleeper bus. And like I said, we just had such a good group of guys, and I'm still friends with a lot of those guys today. So that made it decent.
Because I'm looking at this roster, what was a young baby Jesus Rocco Grimaldi like? Because he was freshly out of North Dakota, where I play with him at. And, you know, obviously a hell of a player, but, you know, a different bird in his own right. I liked Rocco. Some guys maybe didn't. What was baby Jesus like running around in pro hockey trying to find his then? Was he a pretty good player for that team? I'm looking right now. We had 42 points in 64 games on that squad in 2014-15.
Yeah, he was a pretty good player. And, I mean, nice guy. I don't think him and Obi were spending too many Saturday nights together. But other than that, like, I got along with him good at the rink. And at that level, made some pretty high-end plays.
Yeah, he was an absolute water bug.
Yeah, he was a speedster. I remember I got him in training camp. I don't know if you remember, Gerard Gallant had a speech before training camp about, like, hey, don't be hitting guys and you know, play hard in training camp, but we're on the same team. We're going to battle. And I remember turning up and being like, fuck that. I'm on a PTO here. I'm playing these guys as hard as I can fucking play them. So puck comes around the wall and Rocco's got his head down. And I come kind of from it switches from strong side to weak side switch. So I go from weak side D to strong side D. And his head's down, and I got all my momentum coming, and I hit this little fucker so hard. So Gerard Gallant goes to Uppy after the game. He's like, hey, tell Obes to take it easy out here. So Updog comes over. I go, you tell Gerard Gallant, he gives me a one-way right now. I won't go on the ice the rest of training camp. I won't even fucking go out there if he doesn't want me to. I won't touch a person. I won't practice. I'll just sit out. But until I get a ticket here, I'm not going anywhere. You know what I mean, Swish?
No, those are game reps at that point, Obes. You have to take that like as and treat it as like a playoff game because you're trying to earn a contract. And if you see, as I used to call him, Jumanji with his head down, coming down the wall, his chin might get tested.
Yeah. I think you were gone by this time, Shorzy, but were you there when Rocco first got called up? Were you still there?
I think I was gone by then.
Yeah, so, yeah, he gets called up. Yeah, because you probably would have been the guy that went up. He gets called up on a straight-up emergency basis. Like, I forget what forward it was. Brad Boyes or fucking somebody.
Uppy was probably hungover.
Yeah, maybe Uppy missed a practice or something like that. And it's straight-up emergency basis. And Rocco Grimaldi goes around the whole room and shakes everyone's hand and is like, hey, Good luck the rest of the year. Good luck the rest of the year. So he comes up to me. He's like, good luck the rest of the year. I'm like, how fucking long do you think you're going for here, kid? I'm like, I'll see you in a couple weeks. And sure enough, he was right back down 2 weeks later. I'm like, buddy, you're going up on emergency. Like, he was kind of, I liked Rocco, but I needed to be hard on there, Shorzy, because in his mind, he thought he was going to go up and play in the NHL for 20 years.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I said, I got along with him good, but definitely there were some times where like he struggled to read the room a little bit.
Yeah. He was a great kid, though. But I'm going through this team here right now. I got it up. Connor Brickley, great guy. Bobby Butler, great guy. Mark Mankara, not a bad guy, not a great guy. But we had the Hammer I love, Shorzy, Logan Shaw. I mean, we had so many. And then obviously we had some really good players in Trecho and Trocheck and stuff like that. I remember Troche wasn't going to be down there very long. But what did you think of Dale Talon and Tom Rowe and that whole organization? Because listen, I think Dale Talon's a great guy. I don't love the way he handled me, but looking back, was Dale good to you and Big T-Rex?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I mean, he had a ton of success. I mean, he built those teams in Chicago. I didn't like necessarily the way he handled me. And as a young guy trying to break into the league, it was tough being in that organization at the time because I think I had like 3 or 4 head coaches and 2 or 3 GMs within like the 3 or 4 years that I was there. So that made it difficult. I think he's a really good guy. We actually have a couple mutual friends, golfing friends now. I probably could have done some things differently at that time. And T-Rex was T-Rex. He was hard on me, but I really liked him. I thought he was a beauty. Definitely got guys to play hard. I think he meant well. And I think he's also the first guy to go from like American League coach to NHL coach to GM to I don't know what he was doing after that. So that organization was a bit of a shit show at the time. But I mean, I got nothing but good things to say about everyone as people.
Yeah, you're so right. And T-Rex, Kevin Joyce, remember Kevin Joyce? He was the right-hand, West Point guy that –
Yep.
And basically, T-Rex, he just, like you said, he worked his way up from being an American League head coach to all of a sudden, I turned on TV the next year and he's the GM of the team. I'm like, holy fuck! Like, what did you do here, T-Rex? Like, who do you got pictures of, fella? Wait, what do you got up your sleeve there?
Yeah, he was good. I do remember there was one time though we're in Charlotte, we got beat like 7-1 or 7-2, and he made the whole team watch like my first period, and it was fucking horrible. I think like I was like 2-10. And the face-off circle -2 and 3, and I just remember it was the first time in my career like an entire team had to watch like my first period of play. But I loved him. I thought he was a good time. He knew how to kind of push guys, and yeah, I think he was still. Didn't you play for him or something, Obi? In like Germany or something?
No, he was in. I played for the Troy G. Ward, friend of me and Jay Swish's, toe caps. Loved Troy G. Ward. After Wardo left, T-Rex came in and in Linz and coached that team. He didn't reach out to me. Thank God he didn't, because I was fucking done. But yeah, he went in there after. I'm like, I don't know how these little Austrian guys are going to love T-Rex coming in here. Like, Troy G. Ward was such a player's coach, and then you get T-Rex in there. But I'm sure you adjusted, right, Shorzy? Like, you can't go into Austria and be the same as you were to the boys in San Antonio that are all kind of North American guys.
No, especially over there. Like, the Euro guy, it's so different over there. And it's funny when, like, I mean, you guys both played over there, and I mean, I played over there in Switzerland, a bunch of places, but it's just such a different vibe. And I'm sure he was smart enough to at least adjust a little bit.
Yeah, the GM of that team was a beauty. Good-looking Austrian guy that would just drink all day, every day. Like, it just anytime I saw him around town, he'd be at lunch having beers. First time I had him, he's like lunch. He's a couple beers. I'm like, this guy played there. I'm like, this guy's done some damage in this. He's got a few skeletons walking around here, Jay Swish. But Shorzy, you mentioned like, I felt bad for you when I was with you in San Antonio because I loved you as a teammate, and I saw you had every ability to play in the NHL. And I don't know if you remember me saying, like, because you're asking for a trade, and I didn't want you to get traded because selfishly I wanted you to stay in San Antonio because we could use you and you were a great guy. But I was always like, I don't know if you remember me, I'm like, Shorzy, there's one guy like you or one or two guys on every team that's in the same position as you, man. It's not right. Like, you were good enough to play in the NHL. Like, looking back, was that one of the things that, because when I was younger, I made the league and then I just made the league. I didn't have to worry about going up and down. Like, looking back, would you wish you would have stayed in San Antonio, or were you happy with the way it played out?
No, 100%. And I was talking to someone about this recently. Like, the worst thing to be is like a guy who's caught in between. Like, I was a guy who wasn't quite skilled enough to be like a first or second line center in the NHL, and I wasn't committed enough like defensively or willing to accept at a young age. Like, I wish someone would grab me and like been like, hey, like, you can win faceoffs, you're smart enough to penalty kill, like, this is going to be your role for 15 years. And no one really did that. And I kind of had like at the time I kept thinking like, oh, like I'll be a power play guy in a different organization. And then, I mean, that didn't work out either. But so being caught in between is so tough. And then you look at a guy like my brother who had a much better career than I did. He went into LA when they had Carter. He's a centerman. They had Carter, Richards, and Stoll, I think, and Kopitar or whatever. So it's like he knew he was going to be a fourth line player and just was willing to kind of accept that, grow into that, and be a part of that. And that's something I definitely wish I would have done. Not necessarily like whether I asked to be traded or not, but just kind of was more willing to accept like, hey, like you can play in the NHL for 10 or 15 years, but you got to commit to being what you are. And I wasn't really willing to do that at that young age. And that was pretty stupid.
No, I know exactly what you're saying, and mine's a little bit different. Mine happened when I went to Vancouver. So I went from Anaheim. I got traded to Tampa for a first rounder. I'm like, fucking, here we go, boys. Hey, first rounder, fucking right. Say I'm going to make fucking 50 bananas playing for the Lightning. And then I get traded to Vancouver, and I go there, and my minutes come down, and I'm just a PK guy, and I got to fight again. And all I thought about at that time was I got to play 20 minutes. I got to have 20 points. I got to have this. Or I'm going to be out of the league. When looking back, you know, I wish I just would have been like, hey, if I'm just a good teammate on a good team and play the right way, I'm going to be just as successful as I would be on another team playing 25 minutes a night, right? Like, if you just accept your role, and for me, keep my mouth shut, it might have been different for me. Like, so I know what you're talking about, Shorzy. I looking back, that was, you know, one mistake I made too of, hey, you get your role, be the best you can at your role, and if you're on a good team, people want winners. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that like the winning thing is a huge thing, especially at the American League. Like I didn't care at all about winning. I just wanted to fucking get my points and be home, you know what I mean, or be out of there. But like if you look at all those guys who win every year in the American League, so many of them end up playing in the NHL the next year full time. So I think that's a great point. And then the other point about like keeping your mouth shut, I agree with completely. And I'm not saying I wish I would have kind of necessarily been a suck up to a ton of coaches, but like telling all my coaches I thought I was smarter than them on a daily basis doesn't do you any good. So I should have kept my mouth shut for sure at different times.
Yeah, but you were a good teammate, and at the end of the day, that's the most important thing. And being down there when, you know, like you said, you want to make some money. You know, I think you just had gotten married, and you know, thinking about all that stuff, and it's like you look around the league at other teams where you're like, I'm just as good as that guy. Like it's easy for us to sit back now at, you know, however old we are, and sitting here now, we're all done. But like when you're in it and you're competing and you want to get to you want to live your dream, Shorzy, and you look around and people are getting opportunities. It's tough, man. It's easy to say now, but when the position you were in, man, it's hard to handle.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about it all the time. There's probably, I mean, I don't know, 3-4 forwards and maybe 1-2 defensemen who are just so much better than everyone else. They would make it kind of on any team in any organization. But there's a lot of guys who, a lot of it comes down to right place, right time, and then you take advantage of it. So I did probably not take advantage of it during certain spots that I could have. But overall, like, I'm happy with kind of things. I wouldn't say I'm happy with how my career went, but I've kind of accepted it, and I'm kind of going to use it to just be super successful in what I'm doing now.
Yeah, and I think just you make such a good point, Shorzy, with the American Hockey League and how much of it is a stepping stone. And it's easy. Hindsight's always 20/20. We can look back at it and kind of be like, wow, like, you know, when the GM or coach would tell you, even at the NHL level, like when you're going down to the American League, it's important to win. It's important to go on a long playoff run. That breeds champions and winners, and that's what we want in this organization. Or maybe if it's not going to work out here, you go somewhere else and you find success. And you look at one guy even you had on last week, Obi, and Stefan Nason. And he's a guy that ultimately had to go down to Chicago after his like 6th or 7th year pro. He went down there. He scored 48 goals, I think, in their regular season. And then they won the Calder Cup, and he lit it up. And then, boom, he's in Carolina the next year. The farm team, obviously, with the Chicago Wolves. He was, you know, spent the previous year in the AHL, and he moves up the big club. And now he revitalizes his career. So it's just like from a young age to a middle-aged player, like the American League, if you have the right mindset, can always be a stepping, you know, stone to the next level. But Shorzy, I wanted to get to you a little bit here. Like you kind of flamed out early, I guess, or were you just sick of the American League at like 25? You're like, fuck, get me to the Fondue League. Get me over to Switzerland. Let me try it out over there. Let me go light it up. And then you actually end up that same year, making it back to the NHL, which is pretty crazy, man.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was weird. Looking back, I wish I would have tried to give it more time. I mean, I went over there when I was 24, 25. At the time, I was kind of making like the equivalent of NHL one-way money, if not a little bit more, playing in Zurich. So I was kind of just so over it. But that's something I wish I would have given it more time, because you see so many guys like the guy, Stefan Nason. I don't know him, but I mean, his story is unbelievable. And like happy to see guys like that have success. But I wish I would have given it more time over here, because like you said, you never know what can happen, and it's tough to come back once you go over. I got one chance. You guys will laugh at this. I remember I flew over from Switzerland, was playing like first or second left wing in Vancouver, made a sick pass like in the first period and got an assist, and I was like, you know what, like I'm fucking back. like I figured it out. I ended up with 2 assists in the 14 games that I played there, so that did not go as planned. But I remember sitting on the bench after I made that first assist, like first or second period in the game, being like, fuck, I'm gonna have 14 points in 14 games here too. And that's not exactly how it went.
So, Shores, you come back. Who'd you play with that first night in Vancouver? What line did they stick you on? Did they give you an opportunity right away?
Yeah, they did. And I actually got a couple games later. This was funny. I finally got a shift with both Sedins. We were in Edmonton, and I remember McDavid ended up poking it through, whichever one of them was taking the draw, went in and scored. It was like from the neutral zone. It was like a 15-second shift. That was his 100th point, I think, the first time he ever got it. And that was my combined ice time with the Sedins that year, was like 18 seconds, starting on a neutral zone face-off dash run. But yeah, I mean, you played Van. It's obviously a great organization, and wish it would have worked out a little bit better.
Who's the coach then? Darren Ayer, whatever his name was?
Oh my gosh, I can't even think.
Where did
Yeah. And we were so bad. Like I knew, like I think we were out of the playoffs by the time I even got there. That was with like the deadline coming back from Europe. I had to sign with a non-playoff team, so most of the boys were on summer vacation already by the time I got there, which was a little bit tough. But yeah, met some good dudes.
I've been there. When you got 20 games left, you're like, all right, boys, I got Cabo lined up and a little golf trip. Eh? What else you guys want to do here? Just no one get hurt. No one fucking block a shot or anything.
Are we thinking Pebble or are we thinking Pinehurst number 2? What do we think, boys?
What do you think?
Don't get hurt here, boys. Hey, fuck, we got a big off season coming up here. But Shorzy, I want to go back. It was a great question by Jay Swish. You know, it's tough though if you get labeled as an American leaguer, right? Like you remember the name Chase DeLeo. I don't know if you guys know Chaser. He's a great kid from out here, and like, you know, he finally went over, but I was begging him. I'm like, dude, you got to go play in Europe. You're tailor-made for Europe. You've been labeled as an American League guy. So Shorzy, I guess what I'm saying is I don't think it's a bad thing to go over there when you did, because once you get labeled as an American Leaguer, it's tough to shake that.
Yeah, it's very tough. I actually recently started representing Chase, so I just met him.
Oh, nice.
Kind of, whatever. He's back in Milwaukee now, but it is tough. But like, he at his age is much older. I was 24, 25 years old, so I was a little bit younger. But I do think for a lot of guys, like the American League is so tough. So, I mean, especially if you're, depending on where you are kind of in your life. But like my brother, even went to Russia for a couple of years, was able to make some phenomenal money. He was single, so he had some fun, and just was able to come now. Wasn't able to enjoy it a little bit. But yeah, I mean, especially because, I mean, at the end of the day, right, like everyone wants to make the NHL, and it gets to a certain point where like you need to start making some money, and that's tough to do at the American League level, even though there are some guys now making more guys, I would say, making 400, 500 in that range again. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go make your money.
No, and you make a good, like that's, you know, for the real world, 400 grand's a lot. But you don't get 400 grand for the rest of your life. You got a short window to make money as a professional athlete. And when you're down there in the jungle making that, it's nice, but it's like, you know, you're looking big time, long picture. But I wanted to ask you, you know, so you get traded, you leave me in San Antonio, right? I get the call, Shores, you got traded. I'm like, oh, fuck. And you're going to the Calgary Flames. And I don't know if I'm sure I text you or something about Bob Hartley, but he is the one coach that I absolutely hate. Like, if he walked in the studio right now, I'd probably just drill him as hard as I could right in the ribs. Everyone else I had, good people. You know, we all know as players, it's the coach's decision how much we play and this and that. But what was your first impression of Bob? And did he give you an opportunity at all?
Well, it was exactly like you said. I mean, it was fucking hard, especially that was like, I think that was like one of the last times they'd won a playoff series. So I kind of was coming into a team, was humming. He thought at the time he was Bill Belichick of the NHL because they were having a good year. And it was tough. Like, I remember he's like the first coach. I mean, I was healthy scratched by pretty much half the NHL, but he was like the first coach who he would go as a head coach, do the morning skate, go do media, and then come back on the ice.
Oh, yeah.
In bag skate. It's like, you know, I mean, for people who don't know, most of the time it's like the second or third assistant coach who bag skates the extra guys. But I mean, he would come and like he would skate us like so hard to the point of like you're almost like, dude, like I feel like he got picked on.
Fuck off.
He got picked on a lot growing up or something, and like obviously like taking it out on the healthy scratches. So I mean, that was tough. And then I think like too, for a guy who never played, like he thought the game of hockey was like a video game. He's like, you know what I mean? Like he's like, oh, like getting the puck off the wall on a rim is easy. You just put your butt into the guy's gloves and then make a play. And it's like, okay, like people who played the game a little bit, like, you know, maybe it's easier to bump the puck to the low centerman and come out through the middle.
Yeah.
But I agree completely with you on that. Like he's one of the few coaches that I did not like personally. And I mean, I had nothing against a lot of the coaches that I had during my career.
I mean, I had lots of problems with him, Swishy. Sorry, before you jump in there, but like what he used to. So, Swishy, you'll appreciate this as a D-man. No matter the 2-on-1, whatever player, if it's Patty Kane all the way down to Shane O'Brien or whoever the fuck comes in on a 2-on-1, you have to slide. So right away, I disagree with that at National League level. But not only do you have to slide, you have to slide at 10:15 on a Wednesday at the Saddle Dome when you don't play till Friday. I'm like, dude, I'm not fucking sliding here. Like, A, I might get hit in the face with a puck. B, I don't want to slide. And what the fuck are we talking about here, Bob? And he was like, oh, fucking Duncan Keith. Fucking Duncan Keith slides. I'm like, not in practice he doesn't. It's fucking practice.
And not every time does fucking Keith slide either. It's a situational thing. And Obi, never leave your feet, by the way.
Never.
To all the young D-men out there that listen to this, never leave your feet. Trust your stick. Trust your feet. Give the guy the shot. Take away the back door, and you can always bait him in to kind of push him outside those dots and just let your goalie go to work. Just don't have that come through your seam. You don't have to, lean your feet to make a play. Duncan Keith was exceptional at it because his feet were buzzing 200 miles an hour, and he could kind of slide in at an angle. Not everyone has that luxury, so you don't need to slide.
And then,
your feet.
by the way, we'd be doing it in morning skate, or the team would be, in the NHL teams come out and watch it. I'm like, oh, I wonder if they think we're going to slide tonight. Like, really way to keep it under your cap there, Bob. Like, we're sliding in morning skate. They're like, I remember the Blackhawks are like laughing at us, being like, okay, Patty Kane's like, I'll just toe drag and hold this now, Shorzy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that like the rare time it is effective, it's like when you catch a guy completely off guard.
Totally.
Like you're watching you guys do it every day in morning skate. Like I'm sure that's something that's discussed.
And especially, too, you need, like, back pressure if you're going to slide. If you have a guy that, like, Patty Kane or someone coming down the, inside on the dots and you slide and he just toe sucks you a little, hey, how are you, right around you, and it's bar in. Now you look like a fucking idiot. Or he slides it back door and you're way out of position. Stay on your feet, Opes.
Yeah. You need a guy like Shorzy. You need a guy like Shorzy back checking hard for you like we knew he did. Shorzy just digging hard for the boys.
Yeah, no, I would have been the guy pulling it around you guys in your slide.
Hey, but the last thing about Bob Hartley here before we move on, I remember I was playing golf back home and he called me. This is about bag skating. And, it's like, first of all, it's Jay Feaster. He's like, we just got traded to the Calgary Flames. I'm like, fuck, I should have had that no move put in my contract. What a fucking idiot. So I finished the round of golf and Bob calls me. So he's like, hi, Bob Hartley here, this and that. Welcome to the Calgary Flames. He's like, you know when I wanted you on my team? I'm like, no, I have no idea. He's like, one morning at the Pepsi Center, you're by yourself getting bag skated, and you skated as hard as you could for the whole bag skate. I'm like, that's why you traded for him? That's why you wanted me? I'm like, everyone skates hard in the bag skates in the NHL. It's the fucking NHL. You traded for a guy because of a bag skate, Shorzy? I was like, this is not going to be good.
You guys will laugh at this one real quick before we move on, but I remember like at home, you skate first, so there was like the visiting team skate, so he could only skate you for like 20 minutes. But on the road, if you were the second team, like they could make it go on for whatever. And we were in like on a suite from like LA, San Jose, and Anaheim maybe. And I think it was Brandon Bollig or something, like was so fed up with it. We were in San Jose. He went and paid like the Zamboni guy for the other team to be like, hey, like the skates from 11 to 12, like come at 12 o'clock and like you're cleaning this ice, like here's $100. And I remember the boys were so happy about that because like you said, this guy he would have skated us till the game time.
That's a veteran move. I never gave the boys 100. I should have, but I'd be banging on the glass being like, get the fuck out here, open this door, bud. Like we are done. Like we've had enough.
What are we doing? We talking about practice, man. Not the game. We talking practice. What does Bob Hartley trade you for because he saw you in practice? Fella, the lights don't come on until 7 p.m. That's when the puck drops. Maybe watch me then.
Yeah, I'm like, I want to be like, well, what'd you want me to do? Go out there with the assistant coach of an NHL team and just not skate? Like who the fuck does that? Like everyone, no one likes getting bag skated, but when you get out there, you got to get the work in, right, boys?
It's a fucking National League.
Yeah, like I'm like, that's why you wanted me? Like, fuck, you didn't do your homework, bud. You should have done your homework a little more here, fella.
Meanwhile, you're housing down or just a double crown on the course, just slashing one crispy right down left to right, eh?
Oh, I could go on about Bob Hartley's days off too. You get a day off, you come back, you got to do 2 mountains. But anyways, so Shorzy, you get traded. I have to ask you, buddy. I've always wanted to ask you this. You go right to the old Adirondack Flames, and then the next year in Stockton. Which 2 of those shitholes were worse for you, buddy? Because I always felt bad for you when you were stuck in Adirondack and Stockton.
I actually remember, this is a good story. I fired my first agent when I was at the hotel in Stockton, looking over like this fucking green lake. Like the summer before, this is so funny now that like I work in hockey too. Like the summer before, like I could have filed for arbitration and we kind of got like the old like, oh, like you don't want to piss the team off, you're new there, all this shit. Which like now looking back, like a lot of players get paid another 15, 20 grand just because like no one in the middle of the summer wants to fly to Toronto, like did break up a week of their summer for some shitty arbitration hearing. But I remember like looking over it, and that's when I thought about going to Europe for the first time. Was like when I was in that hotel across from Stockton. I'm like, fuck, Russia. How much worse can Moscow be? What I'm dealing with right now. So that was actually the first day I was there is when I thought about going to Russia for the first time.
Boys, that place is fucking brutal.
Dude.
Oh my God, Stockton. Like all the boys, like you said, Shorzy, lived at that hotel across the street. I remember when you would check in there and you would get into Stockton, they'd be like, literally don't leave this vicinity of like 100 yards because you might get shot.
Dude, I went for a movie with Harry Zolarchuk. Remember that name, boys? Z, great teammate of mine in San Diego. We had our San Diego Gulls dress thing on, but I had this Breitling watch that was a little shinier than this one. And we came out of this movie, and it was like Nate Diaz's crew, but not Nate, obviously. And they're sitting there, and like we start walking, and they kind of keep walking with us. And Z's like, what do? I go, we fucking run. And we ran back to the hotel. I was a little lighter than Shorzy. I had a little more hop in my step, and we literally ran back to the hotel because I think they were going to, like, they might have come at us, boys. I was like, this place is nuts.
Yeah.
You'll laugh at this because I know you know him, but like there was a practice rink there that we practiced at like 2 or 3 times in the 2 or 3 months that I was there, and I was there with Brian McGrath and Bigger.
Oh yeah.
Imagine his effort level, and it was so funny because our coach at the time was too scared to like say anything to him. But like, so he would go out, and I don't even think he'd tie his skates for those practices. It would just look at me shaking his head. We had him and Colton Orr both on the same squad there for a minute. But yeah, that was. I mean, if you're gonna live in Stockton and collect like $2,000 for pass and go every like 15th and 30th. That's when I decided it was time to go to Russia.
Well, like, what were they thinking putting a team in Stockton? I mean, obviously,
I mean, the rink's not bad, but that's about it.
Yeah, but like the Sacramento looks like Paris compared to Stockton. That place is like a third world country. I mean, but somewhere else. Like, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Stockton, California. That's where we're putting the team. I mean, Bakersfield is shitty enough. Now you go up to Stockton and you have some real fucking problems. Like that place was horrible.
No, it's nails, as you would say, in a bad way though. But you talk about the big earn, Shorzy. I played with him the next year when he came down to San Diego, and he loved it down there. So he was always in a good mood. But he'd be like, "Big boy, you should have seen me last year when I was in Stockton, big boy. The efforts that I would put on in practice, I would just go out there and fuck around." He's like, I was so miserable, I couldn't even, like, he was literally the most miserable guy ever, he said, when he was there.
Yeah, and he wouldn't, literally, our coaches were scared of him, so they wouldn't one time the whole year like tell him, hey, like maybe put in a little effort here. But he was a beauty.
I love Big Earn.
Those teams in Stockton too were always so nails. I don't know who you guys had other than McGrattan on your team, Shorzy, but I remember just Ryan Lomberg just running around that building with shitty ice, just looking for every chin to staple into the end wall. Like, you knew going in there, you're going to be -2. You're probably going to have a little bit of a mild concussion, maybe a separated AC joint, and you're going to be ordering pizza afterwards, just thinking, holy fuck, can I call my agent and try to get me out of here?
I had Devin Dubin on my pod yesterday, and he was a first round outer, and he was the last cut of the Oilers one year. They didn't have an American League team, and so he went to Stockton, and they had open tryouts. So he went from like a week before like playing the NHL to then being in Stockton when he's like people off the street who didn't have gear were like coming on and asking him to shoot on him and shit. But yeah, that place sucked.
Oh my God.
I got your squad here. Turner Ellison, I like that kid. He was a good kid. I played with him in Abbotsford. He's a good kid.
He played hard. He was a good guy, but yeah, that place just, I mean, even though like there wasn't even like a bar to go to or a place to hang out, and guys lived literally across the street at the hotel. It was not ideal.
Garrett Hathaway was on this team. Garrett Hathaway came down the year before from Brown University in Abbotsford. He's like, "Hey, Obes, can you show me a few things how to fight or whatever?" I'm like, "Fella, listen, the really only one way to win to do it is get in there and start chucking, but I'll show you a couple grabs." Well, that night he got in a fight. He only dropped one of his gloves and had his nose just fucking shattered all over his face. After the game, I'm like, Well, I should have told you should probably drop both those gloves. That's step one. But where I'm going with this, Shorzy, did you ever think Garrett Hathaway would still be playing in the NHL? Like, I got to give the guy a lot of credit, man. Like, I never thought he'd even have a career, let alone still playing right now.
No, and I mean, credit to him. Like, I don't know how many hundreds of games he's played now, but that kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. He's a guy who was a fourth-line player at the American League level and is a fourth-line player in the NHL. And I don't know, I don't think he won a cup when Washington won. But anyway, he's turned out to have a phenomenal career. And there's a guy who bought into his role and made the best out of it.
Yeah, 600 games. He's got 590 games right now. But going back to your Stockton team, Mason Raymond there for a cup of coffee. How was Mace's attitude down there when he was in the Jungie?
Dude, Mace's attitude, this was all time. He would bring his kids. His kids weren't there, but then like they'd come in for 2 or 3 week stints. And I remember like guys would be on the ice. He turned it into such a joke. Guys would be on the ice like right after practice. He would be like on the ice with his kids, making it like a dad day skate. And then like the coaches would be on the ice like doing the Indy 500 and Mace would be like holding their hands. And so I actually I got along with Mace good. He was fun to play with down there because I mean for a guy like an American League player, the guy could make so many plays. But I mean, he wasn't taking too many strides playing at that level.
Shorzy, as we take a trip down memory lane here or continue with Buddy, one place you played that I always wanted to play was in Minx, Domino. That was a place that I told my agent when I was done, get me over there. It was part of the KHL, but it's Belarus. How was that over there? And for a single guy, I just thought it'd be a real nice place to play.
Yeah, it was great. Well, it was great until it wasn't. So for me, it was funny when I was thinking about going over there. I ended up getting a pretty big point bonus at 20 points and 40 points for the whole season. Got off to a great start there. I think I had 19 points in 19 games. Kind of got called into a meeting and they kind of were like, hey, we want to change your contract. And my bonus was pretty significant. We were losing. We were probably middle of the pack, but who weren't winning as many games. I said no. The next morning came to the rink and all my shit was packed up and they were like, you were done. So that was really shitty because it was a pretty significant cash bonus. And I think at the time I was like 4th or 5th in the league in scoring. So it's like I was feeling good. I was playing good. And then to get absolutely fucked like that kind of sucked.
Holy fuck. They cut you because you were lighting it up?
Yeah, I was like leading our team in scoring by 4 or 5 points. I had the most assists in the league at that point. It was through like 20 games. And I was kind of like going into the year, I was kind of like, I took a little bit lower of a base salary because I was like, in my head thinking I'm for sure going to get 20 points on the season. Like if things go well, I'll probably get 40 or 50. So yeah, my wife and daughter at the time had just flown over there for like 2 or 3 weeks. And I think that was like on the plane ride home when my wife was like, I'm retiring from hockey. She's like, I love you. You can go play when you want, but like, I'll see you in June.
Yeah. If you want to see your daughter, we will FaceTime for here on out, buddy. Buddy, I keep going. I'll support you, babe, but just from Denver, just from Cherry Creek.
She just like gave her retirement speech on like the 18-hour plane ride home. And she was like, I love you. I'll live anywhere you want in North America, but like this is just not for me.
Shorzy, you got to tell the people too, you've told it to me before, but when you were playing in Zurich and maybe you were hurt a little bit working your way into the lineup and they might have been scratching you a little bit throughout the year coming back from that injury, and you showed up to the rink and were telling the boys you were the highest paid tourist. Can you tell us that story? Because that one's all time.
Yeah, sure. So I ended up signing a pretty good contract, which was one of the highest in the league. And then basically we won the championship my first year. It had been awesome. We had a couple unbelievable guys. I don't know if you guys know Kevin Klein, but like him, we had such a good group, won the championship. Then the next year, we brought in too many imports, they asked me, they basically were like, hey, like this kind of seems like a consistent theme. They were like, hey, like maybe like, would you think about taking a pay cut? I said, no. They blame some monetary budget things and they're like, all right, we're going to start scratching you. So basically like this was not a very mature 24, 25-year-old move, but I was like, all right, like I'm just going to turn this into a complete joke. So I was showing up to the rink in like a bathing suit, sandals, flip-flops, and just first one, like if practice started at 12, I was getting on the ice at 11:59 and like 59 seconds. And like at like, you know what I mean? Especially after practice, it would end at 12:30. Well, most guys would stick around for a couple minutes, but I would noticeably be the first guy off and around. So yeah, I kind of just made a little bit of a mockery of it, which probably wasn't the best for my career long-term, but yeah, I don't know.
No, you take
the principle.
You take it personal. Like, we talked about when I was down in San Diego, I love Dallas Aikens. He's one of my favorite coaches. He's a great human being. we win our division, and a month before playoffs or 2 weeks, he calls all the veteran guys in and is like, hey, boys, you guys are probably not going to play much in the playoffs because we got a bunch of, college kids coming in and junior kids coming in. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, we fought all year to get here. I've been riding the bus from Bakersfield to San Diego to San Jose, and now you're telling me I can't play? He's like, it's not my call, it's Bob Murray's call, which I totally believe. And I get it. Dahlia was trying to be the head coach of Anaheim someday. I get how the business side works of it. But right then and there, Shorzy, my give a fuck level went from I'm going to be a good guy to fuck it, I don't give a fuck anymore.
Yeah, the same GM who was getting fired the year before, if I didn't dominate in the playoffs to help him win the championship, is scratching me. I was fucking ahead of that.
That's just not right, man. I don't care what league that is. That's the problem with pro hockey at times, man. And that, honestly, near the end of my career, boys, I lost my love of the game for shit like that. Like, I went to Florida on a PTO, thought I made the team. Come to San Diego, be a good soldier all year. Want to win a Calder Cup to maybe get back to the National League. What do you mean? This is outrageous. Swish?
No, it is, and just like Short said, sometimes you got to take matters in your own hand, and you have to deal with it, whether it's showing up in a flip flops, a beach towel, maybe some swimsuits. I'm the highest paid tourist in this league, boys. What's up? Where we going? We going to Como today?
Hey, boys. Lunch on me. Let's go. Hurry up, though. I'm already out of here. You guys meet me. I got a reservation at this place for 12. Meet me there, boys.
I will say, and it's so funny because their culture there is so passive. So, like, they didn't really know how to handle it. But, man, we had some import lunches where, like, Kevin Klein and Max Thoreau and Frederick Pettersson, these guys, they would be laughing so hard just because, like, it got to the point of, like, the comedy was all time.
Oh, yeah, especially in the fondue league over there. It's pretty much just ski chalets and raclette and just hang out. Yeah. Nobody say anything confrontational. Just we're all friends here. You can't get in a guy's face. You know how it is, Shorzy.
Well, Swish, like I'd always call it like semi-pro. And these guys in Swiss who, like some of these local Swiss guys with passports who are making like 700, 800 grand a year there who couldn't play in the East Coast League. Yeah. And it's such an amazing gig because like they get in a fight with their team or their coach doesn't like them. Well, there's 4 other teams within a 30-minute drive. Like they don't even have to move. Like they don't even have to move where they live, and it's just not reality there. And I think that those guys don't quite understand how good they have it.
They could stay in the same county, Obes. You can just take the train. It's 15 minutes. Yeah, stay in the same county over there. Oh my God, that's the best league in the world as far as travel. I mean, you're on the Bone Rattler, and it's only the longest drive you're going to have on the bus is 2 hours, maybe 3 hours. That's it. It's just day of game travel. Never in a hotel.
So, Shorzy, this is another reason. I'm going back to Bob Hartley again here, but this is the reason why I would punch him in the guts if I saw him. So, it's after my year in San Antonio with you. I'm waiting for a deal, and or was it after my year in San Diego? It doesn't matter. And these guys from Lugano call me. These 2 North American guys are coaching Lugano, and the D coach is like, "Hey, listen, someone went down." I go, "Listen, I can be there tomorrow. My gear's packed. I'm fucking turnkey. See you later." Like, okay, boom. Calls me back that day. He's like, "I think we got a deal. We'll call you back tomorrow." 1 day goes by, 2 days go by. I'm like, So finally, he calls me. He's like, "Hey, our GM talked to Bob Hartley, and Bob said basically you're coming over here just to party." I said, "Buddy, I live an hour from Hollywood with the hottest chicks on the planet. If I wanted to party, I'd just stay here. I'm dialed. All right, I'm coming over there to play hockey, man." And to be honest with you, Shorzy, that's what pissed me off because I had a nice little deal in Lugano for like I think it was $500 or $550. I was like, here we go. This could prolong my career.
Yeah, I mean, like that's exactly an example. Just suing you, it had nothing to do with you. Even if you weren't his favorite player, you could have said like, "Hey, he'll be great for the room over there in Lugano." And from over there, like you would have been a guy like Kevin Klein, who he was so valuable to us over there because these Swiss forwards would go nowhere near the front of the net. Yeah. The amount of like time and space that we had, you know what I mean? Like they wouldn't have got. So you would have been a huge value add there. And like, yeah, I mean, it's a joke.
No, I was just going to say, just to piggyback off that, I always say Switzerland, especially Zurich, it's the best place you're ever going to find a $200 lunch, and that's going to come with a burger and a fries and 1 beer. Yeah. It's the best $200 lunch you'll ever have.
I will say, though, like for you guys, like my brother played in Zug, and he won there as a single guy. Like being single over there, you got to warn guys. That's not a great spot. And we had a great import crew, and people were married with kids, so that part was fun. But it can be lonely over there, especially in Zurich as a single guy.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say I'm a suitcase. I've been around a lot. I was single my whole career. The loneliest I ever was when I went over to Finland to play in Hämeenlinna. We had 2 imports. One was a Swedish guy. The other guy was me. So no North Americans. I'm living in this little Finnish town. I'm like, for the first time in my life, I'm like, I'm fucking lonely. This is fucking brutal. Get me out of here.
Oh my God, especially in Zurich too. Like you could at least go into Helsinki from Hämeenlinna. It's an hour.
Yeah.
There.
Obi. Oh, I was in there every Saturday night, bud.
Yeah. So I mean, you could get it that way. But when I was in Zurich and I was over there, and especially when I was hurt early on, and I wasn't doing a ton at the rink, I would be out with the fellas and they'd be like, Swish, go talk to that girl. Like, she's pretty hot. I'm like, that over there, she's like a US 2. Like, no disrespect, but I'm a soft 6. I can at least play a little bit up of that. And then it was so funny they'd always just be like, yo, go talk to that girl. I'm like, dude, she's like a 4, bro. Like,
you're like, I'm gonna have to get way more drunk than I am now, boys, to take her down.
Yeah, I need at least 6 more Irish coffees, and if you got any performance enhancers, I might take that, because right now at face value, that is not getting it done.
Yeah. Shorzy, I want to just finish with, but I could do this all day with you, bud. First of all, Avs alumni, we're 2-0 together. You know, I only play once a year, but we are 2-0. How did you, obviously you live there and you're doing great. That alumni is a great alumni fella.
Yeah, they do such a good job, and Kyle Quincy and Johnny Lyles have really, you know what, when I retired, I had no interest in skating at all. Didn't really want to be a part of it. And they were kind of pushing me throughout the summer. Like, they skate once a month, I think, on Mondays, and then have a really extended lunch. And they just have brought so many guys, whether they played for the Avs, not, guys who retired in Denver, and kind of brought them into this really cool community. And they're doing 3 or 4 events a year that are a blast. That Aspen weekend, as you guys are both there, is one of my funnest, or one of the most fun weekends of the year. And they're also raising a lot of money for youth hockey and doing cool shit. So happy to be a part of it.
Yeah, they love having you a part of it too. You're a big part of it. You're still the same glue guy in the room. And as for what, like, life after hockey now, you're an agent, you got a podcast. What exactly are you doing? What keeps you busy, I guess?
Yeah, I tried not being busy, just relaxing, and I was miserable when I retired. My mental health was not good. You're so used to having a routine, going to the rink, being with guys, and thought I was going to be super happy taking my kids to school every day, picking them up, and just kind of being around. And I think most men do a little bit better when they're busy doing shit. And so, yeah, representing guys, do a podcast, and actually just started this athlete transition program to kind of help guys get into business when they're done with sports. So yeah, do a little bit of everything.
Good for you. That's, you know, I talked to Glenn Healy when he first started working with the NHL alumni, and Heels is doing great stuff. And he asked me, you know, what do I think? I said, we need something for transition of guys. When you know, not everyone makes a fucking $100 million. Nobody really does. You need a transition to help guys when they're done playing to get into business, because, you know, if you're an OHL guy like myself, you never went to school, nothing. It's tough, Shorzy.
Yeah, and I think, like, not having a purpose was the toughest thing for me, and I think it's the toughest thing for most guys. Like, whether you made $100 million or whatever, you still are like, okay, you're used to being the coolest guy in the room, and then you're like some retired hockey player. So I think just helping guys kind of find their passion, whether that's doing media, like stuff that you guys are doing. You guys are both obviously crushing it in that space, whether you want to work in real estate, finance, whatever, but just kind of helping guys figure out what they want to do next, because I think the quicker you figure stuff out, the easier that transition period can be.
It's so true, dude. I remember when I first retired, I was single, right? Loops was fucking living in New York or doing whatever he was, and Uppy was still playing, and I had nothing to do, boys. Like, I remember waking up on a Wednesday for garbage day and, like, getting out there and having my garbage, like, perfect, snapped around. I'm like, all right, well, that was fucking this week. I'll wait till next garbage day. Like, I was like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, having the success that you had your whole life being competitive, it's like, okay, well, how am I going to find some type of competition again? And for most guys, it's some type of business routine, or, you know what I mean, with sector, or whatever you want to call it. So, but yeah, it's been fun watching the success that you guys have had. You guys, especially bringing on the fucking hottest man up and coming in the hockey media to People's Insider, was a great ad.
Hey,
season.
I always knew I'd be a good scout, eh? Fuck, I had my eye on him like a fucking year and a half ago. I'm like, Updog, who's this fucking Jordan Smoltz Swish guy? I like this guy. He's like, yeah, I played with him in St. Louis, good kid. I'm like, I'll keep my eye on this guy. Hey, he's a fucking first rounder.
Yeah, and I mean, you guys do such a good job too of, like, I mean, we talk about growing the sport of hockey, right? Like, so many people have been scared to show personality in the game compared to the other leagues. I think that's really what's been missing. And I think that just kind of highlighting, because there are a lot of guys in the league with big personalities. They're just kind of, I don't know if I want to say scared is the right word, but there's been a culture for so long that's kind of inhibited them from really showing that. But I think kind of doing stuff that you guys are doing is bringing it out. It's making the common person kind of fall in love with the game.
Yeah, thank you. And I will say this, and that's, maybe it's because I do have a podcast, but even if I didn't, like, the one thing I have noticed doing this over the years is hockey guys are still like, oh, I don't want to come on your podcast right now. Like, I don't know if I should come on. I'm like, well, you're going to answer the same stupid questions from the media every single day. Like, why don't you want to come on an ex-player's podcast and actually say what you want to say? You know what I mean, Shorzy?
Yeah, I mean, I'm like, it's wonder why people aren't excited by like we played hard, our goalie made good saves. Like it's a team game. It's like how is that going to draw the common person? But it's great to have these media platforms now where you know what I mean. People want to hear. Like you look at the NBA. I know Swish and I love the NBA.
The association,
the association on the wood.
The
association. But it's like I mean the shit like Draymond Green now like. He doesn't even give the media any answers, then goes on his own podcast after and actually like talks about like real shit that people care about. And so it's like, I think that we need to do more of that in the game.
I agree. And Shorzy, I can do this all day with you. Last but not least, how is your golf game? How do you keep the swing limber in Denver there in the wintertime? Do you got a simulator in the house or are you just going on trips or are you America's guest? How's the game?
So a little bit of everything. I'm going to Miami tomorrow. Big match on Friday at Seminole with an ex-bet. And I'm a little bit nervous because I know these guys are going to be coming for blood and I have not swung a club in about 3 or like probably 4 to 5 weeks. I did go to the swing lounge. The game is better. I was very comfortable at like a 6. Now it's down to like a 4, which I don't like as much because it's trending down. But Obes, you would love this. One of these games we play, it's like an 8 or 10 person guy. The game has its own handicap. So you have to play in the game and record a score with at least 3 guys. So you can't like go to Arizona in the winter with your wife. Like say you shot 100 and then come back in the game and ask for more strokes.
No.
Big match Friday. I'm a little bit nervous with where the game's at, but we'll see how we're doing.
Oh, low and slow, kid. Yeah, get your hips through. You'll be all right.
Couple more cocktails, eh? So you're a 4. You got to give me 3, Shorzy. So I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you someday on the course, and I'll remember that. But hey, listen, like I said before, buddy, you're one of my favorite teammates. It's always great to see you in Aspen. And listen, you're always welcome here at Missin Curfew, buddy. We could have done this all day with you, but thanks for joining us, huh?
Yep. Thanks for having me on. See you, boys.
Welcome back to Missin Curfew. Jay Swish, my man. Thank you to Drew Shore. I wasn't lying when I say he's one of my favorite teammates. He was, I felt bad for him when he was going through at the time, and I was trying to be a good veteran guy to him and be like, hang in there, fella. You need your bounce. And it was tough on him, but he always, at the end of the day, no matter how miserable he was, he liked to joke around, and he was a glue guy and fun to ride the bus with. So it was good to have him on.
100% Obes, and he's a guy I actually ended up meeting from my agent at the time, Judd Moldiver, over at Wasserman Sports. So Shorzy's last year, he was kind of thinking maybe he might be making the transition out of playing into something else. That led him to the agency business, and he was always a guy that I never knew him personally, Obes, right away, but we'd always talk on the phone. Whether I was in Helsinki or Zurich, I'm like, fella, like, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be grinding this out. And I'd always just pick his brain because he was one of those guys that retired at a relatively early age at 31 years old, similar to me. So I'd always just give him a call. We'd bounce off ideas with each other, and still a guy I talk to a lot. I probably talk to him 3 or 4 days a week. He's a smart hockey mind, but just in general, he's a cool dude. So it was fun to have him on. The one thing I wanted to ask him about, we'll have to get him back on, is I think if David Carl ends up leaving to the National League, Shorzy might be his agent. So he might reap a decent little payday from that one, because those two guys, obviously Denver Pioneers at heart, but a really good friend, and I think he might be his agent.
Shit, yeah, we should ask him that. I hope it is, because that guy, he's knocking down on an NHL head coaching job 100%. I mean, what he's done with USA Hockey, and I don't really follow college hockey, but he's won a championship there as well, right?
Yeah, he's won 2, and his stock right now is just not going to be any higher.
Microsoft. It's Microsoft.
Right. It's Microsoft in 02.
I wish I would have bought some Microsoft in 02. What was I doing in 02? I was playing the Ontario Hockey League. Didn't have enough money to buy any shares of Microsoft, fella. But
you were playing for St. Mike's and tugging your own wrench, trying to get laid on the outskirts of Toronto is what you were doing, buddy.
That's exactly what I was doing. So thank you to Drew Shore, Jay Swish. Always a pleasure having you, fella, snapping around tape to tape. That was Missin Curfew.